This is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network. We broadcast from our studios at 6 Bradley Avenue, Kingston 10, Jamaica. Transmitting on the FM 90 band. 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne. Serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary, and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew, and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Coopers Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James, serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland, and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on the World Wide Web on nationwideradiojm.com and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tona Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Friday, March 14, 2025. Anthony Anderson named Jamaica's next ambassador to the U.S. at a crucial time for bilateral relations with the Trump administration. Health Minister says there's no immediate threat to the U.S. visas of any of his cabinet colleagues amid U.S. stance on Cuban healthcare workers. Opposition spokesman on finance says the government is trying to hoodwink the public into believing it has no more need for debt financing. In regional news, a severed head of a woman is found inside a cooler in Trinidad and Tobago. In international news, fiery protests across Bangladesh following death of 8-year-old rape victim. In sports, Messi scores as Inter Miami waltz past Cavalier at the National Stadium. And in business, the United States will avoid a government shutdown as Democratic lawmaker will break ranks to support spending bill. The details after the break.
Why eat other snacks when sunshine has the best for you? Nature's best buns are crunchy. The flavor that sings to you. Salted banana and plantain. Taste the freshness, naturally sweet. The flavor that sings to you.
Ayo, nature's best bunch.
Catch the first news of the day, a comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Former Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson is Jamaica's next ambassador to the United States. The announcement was made in a statement on Thursday by Foreign Affairs Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith. She says General Anderson will also be appointed as a permanent representative to the Organization of American States, OAS. General Anderson will replace Ambassador Audrey Marks, who has been appointed to the Senate. Ambassador Marks has been serving as Jamaican ambassador to the United States and a permanent representative to the Organization of American States since 2016. She is Jamaica's first female ambassador to the United States. General Anderson previously served as a Chief of Defense Staff of the Jamaica Defense Force before becoming the country's first national security advisor. Senator Johnson-Smith says General Anderson is expected to take up his post in Washington, D.C. in short order.
We're very pleased that Major General Anderson will assume this role at a time when Jamaica looks to strengthen its security partnership. His leadership and expertise will also be critical in advancing Jamaica's wider priorities, fostering deeper collaboration with the United States while engaging strategically with the OAS. He will build on this strong foundation laid by Ambassador Audrey Marks, whose service has been instrumental in advancing our bilateral agenda.
Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, a Foreign Affairs Minister. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says he sees no immediate danger to the U.S. visas held by government ministers arising from the Trump administration's stance on Cuba's medical missions program. The U.S. government says it will apply visa restrictions to Cuban and foreign officials believed to be encouraging the Cuban labor export program. The U.S. says the policy will particularly focus on Cuba's overseas medical missions. Dr. Tufton says discussions are being held on the implications of the policy for the approximately 400 Cuban nationals working in Jamaican hospitals.
I don't believe in this kind of assumption. What you're doing is you damage a conversation and a negotiation by start extrapolating on extremities. I don't think it's a healthy part of a dialogue. I think that we avoid those kind of conclusions and focus on the discussion. So when that bridge presents itself, we will cross it one way or the other. A lot of the decisions that we make around these things clearly, well, all the critical decisions are made by a cabinet led by the Honorable Prime Minister. So I would never venture to try and make these conclusions on my own because clearly it's not up to me alone. I have a lot of confidence in the executive arm of government, so that's a decision that we take collectively. But as of now, I'm not there, and I don't see any evidence to suggest that we will get there.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness. The U.S. State Department says the proposed visa restrictions will hold Cuban and foreign officials accountable for profiting from the forced labor of their workers. But the policy has come under fire from several Caribbean leaders. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley says she's prepared to lose her U.S. visa if a sensible agreement cannot be reached on the U.S. policy. A similar sentiment was shared by St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has declared that he's willing to forego future trips to the U.S. The Prime Ministers of Antigua and Barbuda and the Bahamas have also rejected the policy. Meanwhile, Dr. Tufton says there's been no evidence of forced labor among Cuban workers based in Jamaica.
We have had a strategic plan which we're moving ahead with. I'm actually traveling to the Philippines in another few weeks to consolidate some of the conversations that took place with the minister who came to Jamaica, and we have a signed MOU to pursue certain bilateral arrangements. We have had discussions similar with Nigeria, and in fact we have approvals for some faculty to come in and nurses. I met with them last week. I met with the Indian High Commissioner this week. There are some conversations around that. There's a possibility I could be there also. The point I'm making is that we are not going to surrender or give up in terms of efforts, and if it means a void is created, we will have to find a way to fill that void.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, Health and Wellness Minister. Opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson has dismissed what he says is the government's claim that it's not borrowing money to finance its budgets. Making his contribution to the budget debates on Thursday, Mr. Robinson reminded the nation that $160 billion of loans will fund the government's spending plans for the next financial year.
Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, for the upcoming year, the government plans to borrow $158 billion to help finance the $1.3 trillion budget. The current fiscal year ended, the government borrowed approximately $198 billion. And for full transparency, Mr. Speaker, let me share with the House. The total public debt stock is estimated to reach $2.2 trillion at the end of fiscal year 25-26. By the end of fiscal year 28-29, the government projects that it will rise to $2.34 trillion. But other people have been saying that we don't need to borrow and that we've been using our own resources to fund everything. Right? And it is inaccurate. And that is why I'm clarifying.
According to the revenue estimates, $68 billion in loans from external bilateral and multilateral partners will help to fund the budget. This will fund specifically negotiated programs as part of various partnerships with entities such as the World Bank, Inter-American Development Bank, and the International Monetary Fund. Another $90 billion will be funded through bonds and treasury bills. Mr. Robinson also chided the government for the multi-billion-dollar securitization of revenues from the Norman Manley International Airport. He says the government is again using future revenues to fund short-term needs through the sale of shares in Trans-Jamaica Highway.
Really what it was, Mr. Speaker, we were taking 12 years of future revenues to deal with current consumption. And the reason we were there is that because of the sluggish growth, because the economy hasn't grown, because the tax revenues have not kept up pace with spending, we have had to find other ways of funding the budget. It's no different now from selling the Trans-Jamaica Highway share, the $9 billion that will be realized from that, to fund the current budget. And Mr. Speaker, you don't need to be an economist to know. It is never a good thing to sell assets that provide future revenues to fund current consumption. Because what will happen next year, we will have no revenues from Norman Manley for the next 12 years.
Julian Robinson, opposition spokesman on finance. Meanwhile, Julian Robinson says that the next PNP government will retrain teachers to prioritize literacy and numeracy skills in the early years of a child's life. He says this is in an effort to address the high number of students struggling in foundational areas.
We're looking at retraining teachers to focus on literacy and numeracy mastery in the early years, equipping them with the tools needed to build stronger academic foundations. We have to restructure the curricula to prioritize literacy and numeracy from the earliest levels, rather than allowing students to be pushed through the system without the essential skills.
According to data from the Jamaica Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey of 2022, 38% of children between age 7 and 14 have failed to acquire foundational reading skills. Only 50% acquired foundational numeracy skills. Robinson says growth in the economy can only be sustained if foundational literacy and numeracy levels are maintained at a high standard.
Jamaica cannot achieve the levels of economic growth and productivity with the quality of the labor force we have. We have the private sector pressure in the government to import labor, even though we have 700,000 Jamaicans outside the labor force. And we have to, as a matter of urgency, tackle the foundation of the problem. The foundation, the root. So I'm not going to say nothing is being done. I would never say that. But the resources have to be directed at the early childhood stage and primary. We have to align education with productivity and ensuring that we meet the needs of industry. And so we are going to ensure that our education aligns with industry needs, ensuring that our workforce is trained in the skills that drive economic growth.
Julian Robinson, opposition spokesman on finance, making his contribution to the budget debate on Thursday. Immediate past president of the Medium, Small and Micro Enterprise MSME Alliance, Donovan Wignall, has cited proposed negotiations with banks on interest rates as one of the highlights of Julian Robinson's budget presentation. He says negotiations with banks to reduce interest rates would be a move that benefits local MSMEs.
We are shell-shocked from what happened to the banks post-Syntax, etc. So a lot of people tiptoe around the banks. But the banks are quite solid. I think they're making lots of profits. And I think by way of negotiation, the government can induce some amount of easement to MSMEs, to the banking public, by leveraging the funds that they have in these institutions. We, by ourselves, as small businesses, are not able to do it. And one, we cannot move our accounts from bank to bank easily. We cannot open accounts at other institutions easily. So I think this is a smart way of getting the banks to listen. They're not going in like a bull in a china shop and say do it or else, but leverage what they use, what they have to as leverage to cause the banks to at least listen and act.
Wignall says another highlight from Robinson's presentation is the flat rate proposal for customers of the NWC aged 65 and over.
It's a good proposal. Senior citizens, for the most part, do not have a lot of income. In my opinion, that one of the best way a government can prove itself is how it takes care of the persons who are unable to take care of themselves, the less fortunate, the poor, the old and indigent. And I think this particular measure definitely will go a far way in helping the senior citizens of the country. If you listen to most of them when they speak, I think the everyday bills that come in, the light bill, the water bill, are major pain points for them. So I think this definitely is one that I'll put in the column of the PNP as a good proposal.
Donovan Wignall, immediate past president of the MSME Alliance. He was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Thursday. A man was shot and killed at the intersection of Maxfield Avenue and Balmoral Avenue in St. Andrew early Friday morning. He has yet to be identified. The St. Andrew Central Police say the incident happened around 3:30 a.m. A man who said he works nearby reported hearing a barrage of gunfire. Personnel from the JCF's Scenes of Crime unit are currently processing the scene. We'll have more in subsequent newscasts. A 60-year-old businessman was found not guilty of breaches of the Proceeds of Crime Act in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Thursday. The allegations are that the businessman, Carl Ranglin, enticed another businessman, Owen Grant, to invest in an overseas scheme between 2007 and 2008. It's alleged that Ranglin promised Grant that he would yield a sizable interest on the principal sum invested. As a result, Grant invested in excess of $280,000. Having not been satisfied with the investment returns, Grant reported the matter to the police, which resulted in Ranglin being charged. Before the commencement of the trial, Ranglin's attorneys, King's Counsel Peter Champagny and Patrice Riley, made vigorous submissions that the matter was best suited for the commercial court rather than the criminal court, but the prosecution didn't agree and proceeded with the trial. During the trial, Casey Champagny and Ms. Riley submitted that the arrangement between their client and Grant was in writing. Under cross-examination, Grant admitted that a term of the contract was that there was no guarantee on the investment returns. Grant also admitted that even after not receiving any initial returns on the investment, he continued to do further investments with Ranglin. Based on the evidence, Senior Parish Judge Maxine Ellis found that there was no intent on the part of Ranglin to defraud. The judge also found that the investment sums could not be treated as criminal property as defined by the legislation. The Northeast Regional Health Authority, NERA, says the operating theatre at Onoto Bay Hospital will be temporarily closed. NERA says the operating theatre will be closed for 30 days, starting Monday, March 17. It says the closure will be done to accommodate maintenance interventions and critical renovation works. During the period, NERA says alternative arrangements have been made at Port Maria Hospital in St. Mary and the Port Antonio Hospital in Portland. It says obstetric emergencies and elective surgeries will be done at Port Maria Hospital. General surgery emergencies and elective surgery cases will be taken at Port Antonio Hospital. NERA says other critical surgical cases that require specialized care will continue to be referred to the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital. The authority has apologized for any inconvenience the closure may cause. And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
If them a hide and a bribe, you know we not sleep. Extortion them want, you know that not kill. Fight against corruption, turn up the heat. Load up the kickback and fraud when you see anti-corruption, join in the fight. Let's come together and make this right. When you see wrong, you feel open your mouth. Now there's a new avenue to speak out. We need a reduction. Make we fight against corruption.
The Integrity Commission is working towards Jamaica, where there's integrity, accountability, and transparency in public service, where acts of corruption by persons in public office will be investigated and dealt with transparency and accountability. Stand with us in the fight against corruption. Call the Integrity Commission Anti-Corruption Hotline 876-926-0001.
Make we fight against corruption.
regional and international news this morning, regional news in Trinidad and Tobago, a woman's severed head was found inside a cooler bag in Siparia on Thursday. The Express newspaper says the grisly discovery was made just after 1 p.m. by police personnel who were alerted by an anonymous caller. The cooler bag was found on the side of a roadway. A senior policeman said a district medical officer viewed the head and it suspected that given the state of decomposition, the woman died about 48 hours earlier. The head was described as that of a woman of African descent with short hair. Still in TNT, opposition leader Kamla Prasad Besesa has criticized the Rowley administration for failing to take the necessary actions to prevent the recent rollout of a new visa requirement for the travel to the United Kingdom. On Thursday, the United Kingdom announced that Trinidadians seeking to travel to that country will now require visas. The Trinidad Guardian says Prasad Besesa criticized the government for betraying, belittling, and breaking Trinidadians with its decade of failure, which has now led to these measures. She says for years, she warned Rowley about his associations with drug trafficking governments and his failure to deal with the TNT's national security. She says the opposition finds no joy in the announcement, which stemmed from not only an increase in asylum applications from TNT nationals. Claims from Trinidadians rose from an average of 49 a year between 2015 and 2019 to 439 last year, according to the statement of changes in immigration rules presented to the UK Parliament. TNT's visa status will be kept under review, particularly with regards to whether the visa introduction affects the number of individuals claiming asylum from within the UK and the internal security situation in Trinidad and Tobago. International, an 8-year-old child who was raped in Bangladesh died of her injuries on Thursday, setting off fierce protests around the country. The BBC says the girl was raped while visiting her elder sister's house in the city of Magura sometime between March 5 and 6. The 18-year-old husband of the child's sister, along with his parents and brother, were arrested and placed on remand. On Thursday night, after hearing news of the child's death, an angry mob descended on the house where the incident is alleged to have taken place, setting it on fire. The girl died on Thursday after suffering 3 cardiac arrests. She had spent 6 days in a critical condition at the combined military hospital in the capital Dhaka after being admitted on March 8. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10 or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Win with love. Use your JMMB Money Transfer Prepaid Visa Card from October 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 for a chance to win your share of a $2.1 million grand prize, plus a $100,000 university cash grant and cash back from paying tolls and shopping with your card. Receive money 24/7 in minutes with Visa Direct via MoneyGram, Zoom, Remitly, or directly through RIA and Zoom. Visit jm.jmnb.com/money-transfer for full details on how to enter and win with love. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Conditions apply.
I pursue opportunities.
I prepare for opportunities.
I plan for opportunities.
With Sagicor e-Invest, you can prepare, plan for and pursue IPO opportunities. Browse IPOs, review IPO details and prospectuses. Select and apply for a featured IPO.
I.
P.
O.
With Sagicor e-Invest. Think wealth. Visit sagicor.com.
Time now for your morning sports. Argentine legend Lionel Messi was on target at the National Stadium on Thursday night as his Inter Miami team beat Jamaica's champions Cavalier 2-0 in the second leg of their CONCACAF Champions Cup round of 16 tie. The victory gave Inter Miami a 4-0 aggregate win, eliminating Cavalier from the tournament. Messi, who missed Inter Miami's previous 3 games due to fatigue, came on 8 minutes into the second half to massive applause from a full national stadium. The 8-time Ballon d'Or winner sealed the win for the MLS campaigners when he ghosted behind the Cavalier defense and applied a calm finish.
Last moments of the match now. Morales. Messi makes the run. It's fed through. It's Lionel Messi! The king of Kingston.
Inter Miami went in front in the 37th minute thanks to a Luis Suarez penalty. Inter Miami will next face LAFC in April. The top 4 seeded players in the 45th All-Jamaica Senior Squash Championships cleared the first round after winning all their matches in straight sets at the Ligoni Club. Number 1 seed Lewis Walters defeated Alex Chin in just 17 minutes with scores of 11-5, 11-1 and 11-2.
Really good players. I've had some battles with them in the past, so definitely not going to be taking any of those players lightly, so hopefully just come out and bring my best game. Hopefully I'll be playing on Saturday and I'll be winning, but just taking it one match at a time.
Lewis Walters. Number 2 seed Bruce Boris got the better of Ethan Miller. Tajia Lumley, the number 3 seed, overpowered Amon Diman in the face of stiff competition. 4th seed Jonathan Walker got by Nirmal Balani. Jake Mafood, who captained Team Blown to win last year's KPMG League, also won his match in straight sets against Aaron Levy. That match was interrupted in the second game by a sudden downpour of rain, which resulted in leaks on the court. Chairman of the YMCA board, Alan March, expects the swimming pool at the facility to reopen by Saturday. This is the second time in 2 months that the pool is being closed.
We had a problem with one of the filters. We have 4 filters and we're only using 2. So we had to adjust it. We recommissioned the filter over the weekend, but then there was a missing part, a small part, which we had to use so that we didn't have any leakage in the filter because the water would come out. But it should be ready by tomorrow or by the latest Saturday.
He says closing the pool was the best way to ensure the safety of the using public.
When the filter is down, you're unable to circulate the chemicals the way you expect to. For that reason, we closed the pool because we didn't want to ensure that at the levels that are suitable in terms of meeting the requirements suitable for people for healthy swimming, healthy aquatics.
Alan March, chairman of the YMCA board, wrapping up your morning sports.
Need property sales data for Jamaica? Use the National Land Agency's Jamaica Property Sales Data JAMPROP application to assist you with information regarding the transfer of registered titles, registered mortgages, as well as sale prices of properties. To register for JAMPROP, all you need is internet access. For more information, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or visit nla.gov.jm. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal to serve you better.
In business this morning, the U.S. may avert a looming government shutdown after a top Democrat said he would support a Republican funding bill to keep it open. The BBC is reporting that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announced his reversal on Thursday after vowing he and other Democrats would block the bill, which would fund the government through September. It is possible a handful of other Democrats might now elect to vote to approve the measure, though it remains unclear. Democrats face two options: help Republicans pass the bill or stand their ground and oppose it. If they oppose the bill, it is likely they would take the brunt of the blame for the shutdown, which would start at midnight on Friday. Schumer said in his announcement on the Senate floor that there are no winners in a government shutdown. The UK economy shrank unexpectedly in January in a blow to the government ahead of its spring statement later this month. According to BBC reports, the economy contracted by 0.1%, which was weaker than forecast, driven mainly by a decline in the manufacturing sector. The government has made boosting growth its key priority, but a weaker economy is expected to affect Chancellor Rachel Reeves' decisions as she seeks to meet her self-imposed rules on tax and spending. Reeves said the government needed to go further and faster on the economy, but the Conservatives accused it of being a growth killer. The contraction in January came after 0.4% growth in December. Monthly readings can be volatile, and the ONS said the economy was estimated to have grown by 0.2% over the 3 months to January. But according to the ONS, the overall picture for the economy was one of weak growth. And in foreign exchange trading this morning, the Jamaican dollar has gained 8 cents and will open trading today, selling for an average $157.61 against the benchmark US dollar. The Jamaican dollar has lost 23 cents and will open trading today, selling for an average $109.90 against the Canadian. And finally, the Jamaican has gained $2.88 and will open trading this morning, selling for an average $202.17 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
6:30.
Is your business tax compliant? At Dodge & Global, we take the stress out of tax planning, ensuring you maximize deductions and minimize liabilities. From corporate tax to VAT compliance, we've got you covered. Call 876-929-3670 or 876-926-5210. Email us at info@dodgen.global. Visit us at dodgen.global. Dodge & Global, your tax experts.
Coveside Concert Series presents Timeless. It happens on March 29 at Plantation Cove, St. Anne. Featuring international superstar Dionne Warwick and more stars: Myrna Hague, Queen Marcia Griffiths, and Dwayne Stevens. Timeless, March 29. Showtime is 8 p.m. and tickets are now available at Fesco, Fontana Pharmacy, Plantation Smokehouse, and online at coveside.aitix.com.
I pursue opportunities.
I prepare for opportunities.
I plan for opportunities.
With Sagicor e-Invest, you can prepare, plan for, and pursue IPO opportunities. Browse IPOs, review IPO details and prospectuses. Select and apply for a featured IPO.
I-P-O.
With Sagicor e-Invest. Think wealth. Visit sagicor.com.
I home is not in Babylon. Mount Zion is I home. And I say
Any day from now, I didn't know. Calling on Rastaman, no more will I and I roam. Hurry up and come, hurry up and come, hurry up and come. Hurry up and come, hurry up and come, hurry up and come, cause Babylon done. From England straight to America, even down here in the valley of Japasica. Japan straight over to China, fire upon the all slave master. In a Babylon there's a disaster. Well, I can't get no food nor no water. Get up and come, get up and come, get up and come, cause Babylon done. Hurry up and come, hurry up and come, hurry up and come. You know, sister Babylon done. Like a falling leaf, the fall into the stream one day. Well, I say, so is a Babylon. Selassie gonna wash them away. And for all the heedless thing they've done, now them are gonna get them pay. Get up and come, get up and come, get up and come, cause Babylon done. Hurry up and come, hurry up and come, hurry up and come, cause Babylon done. God promised to strengthen the weak and give sight to the light. Don't matter what their oppressors do, in this year I'm a Gideon time. Rasta is here to conquer all trials and tribulations. So pack your little grip and come, let's leave out of Babylon. Get up and come, get up and come, get up and come, cause Babylon done. Hurry up and come, hurry up and come, hurry up and come, cause Babylon done. I hope it's not in Babylon. Stand up in the powers of the Most High. Georgia, Georgia. Stand up in the powers of the Most High. Stand up straight, Ethiopians. Help I turn down Babylon gate. Stand up straight now, Ethiopians. Help I turn down Babylon gates now. Judy gang said we bend down low. They thought that's how it go. So a lot of them don't touch them toe. Never knew that it was a trick. Babylon was plotting to it. Babylon start lash them with big stick. Them jump up quick, but through the powers of the Most High Jah, I and I will get over. Chant no goblin circuit vampire. And stand up straight, Ethiopians. Help I chant down Babylon gate. Stand up straight.
Good morning. Good morning, Jam World. I don't know what you're doing, where you are. I don't know if you're on the road ready to go to school or work or what you're doing, but this morning, it's a Friday morning. Of course, you know, I'm really excited because it's Friday. So, you know, the weekend is here. I can get to sleep a little longer. And, you know, I'm excited about that every single week. It brings me joy. I'm Sondre Roden.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell. Good morning, listeners and viewers. Welcome to the morning program. And I'm happy to be here. How are you, Sondre?
I am good. I'm just reminding you that it's not N at 5. It's NTM.
So, what? The big show. I should what? What is the decorum for the big show?
You know, yeah, you have to, one, admit it, and you have to own it, and you have to allow the listeners to become a part of your personality. You know, you have to allow them to see who you are, the depths of your soul. And then that is what makes the big show, because when we come in here in the mornings, they understand who we are and we understand who they are, and we have that bond. So while they're in their cars, while they're listening, while they're sitting at their desks at work, you know, they understand that Sondre is here for them, with them, and there are things we're sharing together.
I don't know if that's very much different from NNN at 5, NTM at 5.
You know, he said NTM at 5. He's getting it. He's getting it. You know, that's important. You know, he's here and he's getting it. Yeah, a part of
never left.
Then
never left. Take a hiatus. Never left.
No, but it is a challenge to get up. You know,
it's more a challenge to fall asleep than get up. You know,
that's true. I agree with it. It's not really the getting up. Sometimes it's getting to bed at the right time, because I got to bed at the right time on Wednesday night, so I was up spanking after 5 yesterday morning. I was just up, like my body just said get up, and I was just up, Siobhan, and I was like, yeah. But yeah, so you know, the listeners are always going to be mad, Siobhan, when they don't see George.
I can imagine. George is the vibes man, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know what spell George has on these morning listeners, but yeah, they're going to have some issues. So you have to bring an extra vibe this morning too.
I don't know if I can match George Davis when it comes to that, you know, but George walks with that confidence. Have you seen George walks like he's floating on air? He just walks with that confidence.
He walks taller than he is. Jermaine, you can't miss that, you know. I said George walks taller than he is. I said that.
Anyway, Sandra, did you catch Mr. Robinson's presentation yesterday?
I did. I sadly didn't get all of it, so I'm going to have to sit and listen again. But I did try to catch up on some pieces last evening before I fell asleep, actually. And yes, I did some commentary elsewhere, and I did say to them that the opposition spokesman on finance had to come with more. Over the last couple of years, they've had presentations, but they've never really hit it. They really said we're coming as if we're going to form government. I said it elsewhere that the opposition spokesman on finance now has to establish himself as a future finance minister. The opposition leader now has to establish himself as a possible future Prime Minister of Jamaica, because that is what the general elections will determine. So their presentations can't be the same or normal opposition presentation. They have to have something more than bringing basket of goods to say this more expensive and all of that. Because let me be honest and frank, I don't think he had outclassed Nigel Clark at all in any of his presentations.
Oh, not at all.
If we're supposed to do a batting, I were talking about innings.
I would say pains to say that, not at all.
Yeah, no. So this presentation actually is, I would argue, Julian Robinson's best
out of the three, it's been 3 so far that he's delivered. Yeah. This has been the best one. The best out of the 3.
Yeah, I'm saying this is the best one. I think he understood the assignment. Some people always have challenge with the presentation style of Julian Robinson because, them Jamaican people have the vibes and the energy. But surprisingly, at some points, he did turn it up a notch.
Yes.
And he put some vibes in it.
Paternity that was a good one. That was a good little jab. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, he had his moments, and he came in and he talked about ease and then 4 E's for efficiency. And I was like, yeah, more of that and less of the jabs, because over the last couple of years it was jab, as if it was just tit for tat. But now you see that they're proposing some things that they're saying this is what we're going to do. He spoke about the 3 years. Is it a moratorium? I don't know what they call it for. MSMEs saying that they pay no
corporate
income tax, etc. And those little things we wanted to hear those alternatives, and this is the year for it. I wish they were doing it before, because that would have said more to me as a citizen listening to hear that the opposition is saying, government proposed this, but this may be a better way to do it. So I can sit down and weigh my mind as it relates to what they thought about and how feasible it is and that type of thing. But yeah, I think it is his best presentation. I think it is his best presentation.
Well, I took some notes now, but I don't know if we have the time to go through all of them. So I'm going to count on Mr. King to rein me in if I'm going too far.
Mr. King, rein him in when he's going too far.
So, I mean, as I said, I think overall it was his best presentation to date. He seems to have actually grown with some comfort into the portfolio of opposition spokesman on finance, and that bodes well going forward if he remains in the portfolio or if he does cross over to the biggest chair as Minister of Finance. We will see. But let's start with one of the things though. Mr. Robinson made heavy weather of the $160 billion the government is borrowing to fund aspects of the budget for the upcoming fiscal year and the projected increase in the country's real debt. The claim is essentially that the government is lying to you about its macroeconomic affairs. But let's start with the borrowing though. The 160 billion can be broken down into two categories broadly. That's 70 billion in overseas aid and 90 billion in bonds and treasury bills. Now, that 70 billion makes up recurrent and capital payments that from time to time the majority, if not all governments across the world access for a wide range of projects. It's why the funds are there at multilaterals such as the IDB and World Bank in the first place. And development financing, listeners, is a critical component of any developing nation, hence why we have that category called developing nations. The 90 billion in treasury bills is another issue. They are primarily used by the government to refinance debt. Now, what does that mean? Imagine, and I'm going to break this down as simple as possible. Imagine as a farmer, you take out a loan when you're just starting out at around 30% interest rate, extortionate of course, and you have to pay back that loan now over the next 10 years. Now, when you just started out, 5 years in, someone comes along and tells you they are willing to take over that loan at 1% interest for the next 10 years. Should the farmer just pass on that and say, no, it's going to increase my debt? No, he's going to take it up and say, this is a much better deal because it's going to cost you less in monthly payments. It's going to cost you less in annual payments, and overall, you're going to save money. And that is the matter of why we have treasury bills when we are refinancing debt. Now, let's look at the country's debt in total. Mr. Robinson is right that the country's debt stock is going to increase. However, it's a clever misdirection in terms of how debt is handled. There's a reason we use the term debt to GDP. Using the farmer again, if when the farmer started out his loan value was $100,000 with payments of $1,000 annually, then from his business the farmer earns $2,000 initially per year. His debt to GDP, listeners, is then 50%. Now, 10 years in, his annual income increases to $5,000 with the same loan value. His debt to GDP has fallen to 20%. Now, a year later, with his income up now to $10,000 from his activities in growing business and some pressure off, the farmer decides, you know what, I'm going to take out another loan, $50,000 this time with an additional $500 per year, and I want to expand my business. Well, his debt stock is now $150,000, which is a real increase of 50%. But if you look at it in real terms now, with his income up and the debt barely rising in terms of the annual payments, his debt to GDP has actually fallen to 15%, and this is overall much better financially for him. So put it simply, listeners, debt is not paid off in bulk. I mean, when you take out a mortgage, Sanjay, do you pay it off all the next year?
No.
Or do you pay it off over the next 10 years?
Next 10 years.
And you commit to those payments.
Yeah.
You tell the bank or the NHC, yes, I'm going to give you $10,000, $20,000 every month for the next 10 years. And you're committed to that schedule.
Chevron,
Exactly.
if you get astronomically rich, a business take off, you get $100 million. Hey, look, you're not going to run and say, may I pay off my mortgage? No.
Yes, so put it simply, debt is not paid off in bulk. It is paid over time at set intervals, even if it is accrued all at once. The most important factor, listeners, is your ability to finance that debt from what you earn. And Mr. Robinson knows this, but it doesn't sound as good when attempting to rake the government over the coals. So I have a lot more listeners, but I get the wrap-up signal. So I just wanted to point out that one was the main one that stuck out to me, that this quibbling about, oh, is the government borrowing more money to do this? The important thing is the government borrowing to fulfill its most basic needs? And the answer is no. We're not in the situation now, for example, where we're borrowing to pay the public sector, or we're borrowing just to put oil, just to get oil in the country at Petrojam. And that is where the rubber hits the road, listeners.
Yeah, I dare say, Siobhan, that aspect of the speech I definitely disagreed with, but that's another conversation for another time.
The Ministry of Justice offers free counseling to victims of crime. Call 876-946-0663. The time by the Ministry of Justice is
11 minutes to 7.
Get extra on your hand with a partner plan from JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union. Conditions apply. The temperature, compliments of JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is
26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and 20 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Yo, my boss.
Yo.
Yo, my general.
Yeah.
Yo, my king.
Yeah.
The new BK Mega Stacker. Come for run everything. Choose your style. Double, triple, or quad stack. Juicy grilled beef. Plus crispy bacon, some stackerific sauce, and layers of melted cheese. So if you think you can angle it, stackify yourself today. Order the BK Mega Stacker and have it your way. The new BK Mega Stacker. Built for satisfaction. Limited time. Only at Burger King.
Calling all tradesmen, small contractors, skilled workmen, and small entrepreneurs. Whether you want to start or expand your business or get equipment for your projects, Total Tools will help you tool up and expand your business. Get up to $500,000 to borrow, up to 2 years to repay, and interest rates as low as 3.99%. Come for your loan to get your tools. Offer ends June 2025. Visit Total Tools in Kingston, Ocho Rios, and Drex Hall to get a loan for every tool and every trade.
For generations, Jamaican families have trusted Imperial Optical to keep their vision clear and their style sharp. From their first eye exam to the latest in fashion frames, we've been there for every milestone, every moment, and every memory. Whether it's your child's first day at school or your grandparents' golden years, our care spans every age, every stage. Visit Imperial Optical today. Generations of care, generations of trust.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
How is the
For more
TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or
Here,
scan
baby.
the QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done, and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently. But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes, Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor fi go check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deep fake.
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait, I really want dege dumpling here, give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute is brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
When you hear those horns, you know what time it is. It's time for Street Smart. Of course, we have Ludlow McLean here with us. Good morning, Ludlow.
Morning, Tondre. Morning, Siobhan.
Morning, Ludlow. How you doing?
All right. And listeners, this is just a quick update just to tell you that it's bright and sunny. The roadways are already busy. Coming from Manor Park, coming down Constant Spring Road, the flow is steady up towards Mary Brown's Corner. It's the same thing. Olivia Road, onto Shelter Road, steady flow. Going through Grand Spend, it's also steady. The bulk of the traffic is really coming from the Mandela to Boulevard to Spanish Town Road and heading towards 3 miles. Same thing along in the Half a Tree Square. That is the area that is getting busy. And I should also say a quick one there that the Maxfield Avenue, just going further down Maxfield Avenue towards Linda's Road, that area is cordoned off. Apparently there was an incident there and the area is cordoned off. You can go on Balmoral Avenue and go straight across to Queens Avenue, or make it further up to Maxfield Avenue, heading Arthur Street, but you won't be able to go down towards places like Linders Road. You know, it's cordoned off. So there you go. I think that was also on the news. It's back to you, Sanjay, in the studios.
All right, thank you so much, Ludlow. Now it's time for a word of the day.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute was brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
And the word of the day is Q-U-I-C-H-E. That's Q-U-I-C-H-E, listeners.
Quiche. Quiche. Quiche.
And the meaning of that word, listeners, is a savory pie filled with custard, cheese, and other ingredients. So it is Q-U-I-C-H-E, listeners. Q-U-I-C-H-E. Quiche.
As you take a bite of your dinner, you can feel the eyes on the back of your head. It's the family's newest member and it's clear. Baby wants a bite. But when can babies start eating baby and solid food? In parenting tips today, when and how to introduce solid foods into your baby's diet. Babies born full term with no other health problems can start anytime between 4 and 6 months of age. For children who were born early or with disabilities, speak with their child's healthcare provider or therapist before you start the transition. Here are the signs that a baby is ready to start eating baby food. The baby can sit upright to eat and approach food, has good head control, is eager to open their mouth for food, can have a spoon in their mouth, can roll their tongue back to swallow. The best first foods to give your baby are foods such as rice cereal or oat cereal, and that's a great place to start. Mix it with breast milk or formula. It should have a pureed, smooth consistency, and then you can thicken or thin it depending on how your baby accepts it. You could also start with other single ingredient foods such as mashed fruit or vegetables. Try the following foods too, ensuring that they are pureed to a super smooth consistency with no chunks so your baby can handle them. Apples, avocados, bananas, carrots, grains like rice and oats, meats such as turkey and chicken, peas, pumpkin, sweet potato. Avoid small solid foods that may cause choking such as chips, nuts, popcorn, raisins, raw fruits and vegetables, seeds, sticky foods such as marshmallows. When introducing new foods, it's important to start with a single ingredient food to safely see if your child has any food allergies. Add a new one every 3 to 5 days. That way, you know exactly which foods are safe for your child. Once your baby masters softer textured food, you can progress to finger foods, textured, less soft foods such as mashed potatoes. Small amounts of table food when they get more teeth around 9 to 10 months. Food allergens such as peanut products, eggs, soy and fish should be introduced to babies early, around 4 to 6 months. Feel free to offer these foods to your child if it's not a choking risk and it's pureed and soft. Your child doesn't have a strong family history of food allergies or allergy-prone conditions such as severe asthma. Your child doesn't have severe eczema or other allergic tendencies. If you have any concerns, check with your child's pediatrician before introducing potential allergens. They can help assess your child's risk and come up with a plan to see if your baby can safely enjoy these foods. That's it for parenting tips today.
Fearless and fair, Nationwide 90 FM.
Every
couple should have a planned date night to add a little spice to the relationship. Hi, I'm Tana, and these are your lifestyle pages. When money is tight and the working hours are long, we hardly have time, so here are a few tips for date night at home. Number 1, make a meal with chocolate featured in every course. Divide the course and surprise each other. Choose a theme and center everything you do around it. Number 2, a living room campout. Set it up like a camp but without the bonfire, guys. Number 3, create a do-it-yourself photo shoot. Just get creative with that one. And lastly, a slumber party. Make a cozy spot for you and your spouse on the living room floor. It's a little silly, but super fun and makes us enjoy the little things in life. I'm Tana, and those were your lifestyle pages.
News on the go. The latest stories from Jamaica and around the world are literally a finger tap away. Keep up to date with Teen Revolution 24 hours a day online via nationwideradiojm.com. Listen live, read the latest stories, hear every soundbite. Be a part of the vibrant online debate via Facebook and Twitter. Now you can get all your favorite premium nationwide content at your convenience. Visit the Android Play Store and download it for free today. NationwideRadioJM.com. All day, every day. Team Revolution.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Jamaica, let's make road safety a priority. Slow down, stay focused. Remember, every life matters. The time brought to you by the JIS is...
News time, 7 o'clock. If you need to build it, plumb it, weld it, pave it, or power it, National Supply has it. Get the best brands for the job at Jamaica's Industrial Hardware Superstore, Kingston or Bay. The temperature by National Supply is 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 20 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 today, Friday, March 14, 2025, Anthony Anderson named Jamaica's next ambassador to the United States at a crucial time for bilateral relations with the Trump administration. Health Minister says there's no immediate threat to the U.S. visas of any of his cabinet colleagues amid U.S. stance on Cuban healthcare workers. Opposition spokesman on finance says the government is trying to hoodwink the public into believing it has no more need for debt financing. And in international news, fire protests across Bangladesh following death of 8-year-old rape victim.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Former Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson is Jamaica's next ambassador to the United States. The announcement was made in a statement on Thursday by Foreign Affairs Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith. She says General Anderson will also be appointed as permanent representative to the Organization of American States, the OAS. General Anderson will replace Ambassador Audrey Marks, who has been appointed to the Senate. Ambassador Marks has been serving as Jamaican ambassador to the United States and a permanent representative to the OAS since 2016. She is Jamaica's first female ambassador to the United States. General Anderson previously served as Chief of Defense Staff of the Jamaica Defense Force before becoming the country's first national security advisor. Senator Johnson-Smith says General Anderson is set to take up his post in Washington, D.C. in short order.
We're very pleased that Major General Anderson will assume this role at a time when Jamaica looks to strengthen its security partnership. His leadership and expertise will also be critical in advancing Jamaica's wider priorities, fostering deeper collaboration with the United States while engaging strategically with the OAS. He will build on this strong foundation laid by Ambassador Audrey Marks, whose service has been instrumental in advancing our bilateral agenda.
Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Chris Tufton says he sees no immediate danger to the U.S. visas held by government ministers arising from the Trump administration's stance on Cuba's medical missions program. The U.S. government says it will apply visa restrictions to Cuban and foreign officials believed to be encouraging the Cuban labor export program. The U.S. says the policy will particularly focus on Cuba's overseas medical missions. Dr. Tufton says discussions are being held on the implications of the policy for the approximately 400 Cuban nationals working in Jamaican hospitals.
I don't believe in this kind of assumption. What you're doing is you damage a conversation and a negotiation by start extrapolating on extremities. I don't think it's a healthy part of a dialogue. I think that we avoid those kind of conclusions and focus on the discussion. So when that bridge presents itself, we will cross it one way or the other. A lot of the decisions that we make around these things clearly, well, all the critical decisions are made by a cabinet led by the Honorable Prime Minister. So I would never venture to try and make these conclusions on my own because clearly it's not up to me alone. I have a lot of confidence in the executive arm of government, so that's a decision that we take collectively. But as of now, I'm not there, and I don't see any evidence to suggest that we will get there.
The U.S. State Department says the proposed visa restrictions will hold Cuban and foreign officials accountable for profiting from the forced labor of their workers. But the policy has come under fire from several Caribbean leaders. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley says she's prepared to lose her U.S. visa if a sensible agreement cannot be reached on the U.S. policy. A similar sentiment was shared by St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. TNT's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has declared that he's willing to forego future trips to the United States. The Prime Ministers of Antigua and Barbuda and the Bahamas have also rejected the proposal. Meanwhile, Dr. Tufton says there's been no evidence of forced labor among Cuban workers based in Jamaica.
We have had a strategic plan which we're moving ahead with. I'm actually traveling to the Philippines in another few weeks to consolidate some of the conversations that took place with the minister who came to Jamaica, and we have a signed MOU to pursue certain bilateral arrangements. We have had discussions similar with Nigeria, and in fact we have approvals for some faculty to come in and nurses. I met with them last week. I met with the Indian High Commissioner this week. There are some conversations around that. There's a possibility I could be there also. The point I'm making is that we are not going to surrender or give up in terms of efforts, and if it means a void is created, we will have to find a way to fill that void.
Dr. Chris Tufton, Health and Wellness Minister. Opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson has dismissed what he says is the government's claim that it's not borrowing money to finance its budgets. Making his contribution to the budget debate on Thursday, Robinson reminded the nation that $160 billion of loans will fund the government's spending plans for the next financial year.
Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, for the upcoming year, the government plans to borrow $158 billion to help finance the $1.3 trillion budget. The current fiscal year ended, the government borrowed approximately $198 billion. And for full transparency, Mr. Speaker, let me share with the House. The total public debt stock is estimated to reach $2.2 trillion at the end of fiscal year 25-26. By the end of fiscal year 28-29, the government projects that it will rise to $2.34 trillion. But other people have been saying that we don't need to borrow and that we've been using our own resources to fund everything, right? And it is inaccurate, and that is why I'm clarifying.
According to the revenue estimates, $68 billion in loans from external and bilateral and multilateral partners will help to fund the budget. This will fund specifically negotiated programs as part of various partnerships with entities such as the World Bank, Inter-American Development Bank, and the International Monetary Fund. Another $90 billion will be funded through bonds and treasury bills. Robinson also chided the government for the multi-billion-dollar securitization of revenues from the Norman Manley International Airport. He says the government is again using future revenues to fund short-term needs through the sale of shares in Trans-Jamaica Highway.
Really what it was, Mr. Speaker, we were taking 12 years of future revenues to deal with current consumption. And the reason we were there is that because of the sluggish growth, because the economy hasn't grown, because the tax revenues have not kept up pace with spending, we have had to find other ways of funding the budget. It's no different now from selling the Trans-Jamaica Highway share, the $9 billion that will be realized from that, to fund the current budget. And Mr. Speaker, you don't need to be an economist to know it is never a good thing to sell assets that provide future revenues to fund current consumption. Because what will happen next year, we will have no revenues from Norman Manley for the next 12 years.
Meanwhile, Julian Robinson says the next PNP government will retrain teachers to prioritize literacy and numeracy skills in the early years of a child's life. He says this is in an effort to address the high number of students struggling in those foundational areas.
We're looking at retraining teachers to focus on literacy and numeracy mastery in the early years, equipping them with the tools needed to build stronger academic foundations. We have to restructure the curricula to prioritize literacy and numeracy from the earliest levels, rather than allowing students to be pushed through the system without the essential skills.
Data from the Jamaica Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey of 2022, 38% shows that 38% of children between age 7 and 14 have failed to acquire foundational reading skills. Only 50% acquired foundational numeracy skills. Robinson says growth in the economy can only be sustained if foundational literacy and numeracy levels are maintained at a high standard.
Jamaica cannot achieve the levels of economic growth and productivity with the quality of the labor force we have. We have the private sector pressure in the government to import labor, even though we have 700,000 Jamaicans outside the labor force. And we have to, as a matter of urgency, tackle the foundation of the problem. The foundation, the root. So I'm not going to say nothing is being done. I would never say that. But the resources have to be directed at the early childhood stage and primary. We have to align education with productivity and ensuring that we meet the needs of industry. And so we are going to ensure that our education aligns with industry needs, ensuring that our workforce is trained in the skills that drive economic growth.
Julian Robinson, opposition spokesman on finance, making his contribution to the budget debate on Thursday. Immediate past president of the Medium, Small and Micro Enterprise MSME Alliance, Donovan Wignall, has cited proposed negotiations with banks on interest rates as one of the highlights of Julian Robinson's budget presentation. He says the negotiations with banks to reduce interest rates would be a move that benefits local MSMEs.
We are shell-shocked from what happened to the banks post-Fintax, etc. So a lot of people tiptoe around the banks. But the banks are quite solid. I think they're making lots of profits. And I think by way of negotiation, the government can induce some amount of easement to MSMEs, to the banking public, by leveraging the funds that they have in these institutions. We, by ourselves, as small businesses, are not able to do it. And one, we cannot move our accounts from bank to bank easily. We cannot open accounts at other institutions easily. So I think this is a smart way of getting the banks to listen. They're not going in like a bull in a china shop and say do it or else, but leverage use what they have to as leverage to cause the banks to at least listen and act.
Wignall says another highlight from the presentation was the flat rate proposal for customers of the NWC aged 65 and over.
It's a good proposal. Senior citizens, for the most part, do not have a lot of income. In my opinion, that's one of the best ways a government can prove itself is how it takes care of the persons who are unable to take care of themselves, the less fortunate, the poor, the old and indigent. And I think this particular measure definitely will go a far way in helping the senior citizens of the country. If you listen to most of them when they speak, I think the everyday bills that come in, the light bill, the water bill, are major pain points for them. So I think this definitely is one that I'll put in the column of the PNP as a good proposal.
Donovan Wignall, immediate past president of the MSME Alliance, he was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Thursday. A man was shot and killed at the intersection of Maxfield Avenue and Balmoral Avenue in St. Andrew about 3:30 on Friday morning. He has yet to be identified. A man who says he works nearby reported hearing a barrage of gunfire. Personnel from the JCF's Scenes of Crimes unit were processing the scene. A 60-year-old businessman was found not guilty of breaches of the Proceeds of Crime Act in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Thursday. The allegations are that the businessman, Carl Ranglin, enticed another, Owen Grant, to invest in an overseas scheme between 2007 and 2008. It's alleged that Ranglin promised Grant that he would yield a sizable interest on the principal sum invested. As a result, Grant invested in excess of $280,000. Having not been satisfied with the investment returns, Grant reported the matter to the police, which resulted in Ranglin being charged. Before the start of the trial, Ranglin's attorneys, King's Counsel Peter Champagne and Patrice Riley, made vigorous submissions that the matter was best suited for the commercial court rather than the criminal court. But the prosecution disagreed and proceeded with the trial. During the trial, Casey Champagne and Ms. Riley submitted that the arrangement between their client and Grant was in writing. Under cross-examination, Grant admitted that a term of the contract was that there was no guarantee on the investment returns. Grant also admitted that even after not receiving any initial returns on the investment, he continued to do further investments with Ranglin. Based on the evidence, Senior Parish Judge Maxine Ellis found that there was no intent on the part of Ranglin to defraud. The judge also found that the investment sums could not be treated as criminal property as defined by the legislation. The Northeast Regional Health Authority, NERA, says the operating theatre at an Ottaway Hospital in St. Mary will be temporarily closed. NERA says the operating theatre will be closed for 30 days, starting Monday, March 17. It says the closure will be done to accommodate maintenance interventions and critical renovation works. During the period, NERA says alternative arrangements have been made at Port Maria Hospital in St. Mary and Port Antonio Hospital in neighbouring Portland. It says obstetric emergencies and elective surgeries will be done at Port Maria Hospital. General surgery emergencies and elective surgery cases will take place at Port Antonio Hospital. NERA says other critical surgical cases that require specialized care will continue to be referred to St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital. It says it's apologizing for any inconvenience the closure may cause. Regional news now. In Trinidad and Tobago, a woman's severed head was found inside a cooler bag in Siparia on Thursday. The Express newspaper says the grisly discovery was made just after 1 p.m. by police personnel who were alerted by an anonymous caller. The cooler bag was found on the side of a roadway. A senior policeman said a district medical officer viewed the head, and it's suspected that given the state of decomposition, the woman died about 48 hours earlier. The head was described as that of a woman of African descent with short hair. Still in TNT, opposition leader Kamla Prasad-Bissessar has criticized the Rowley administration for failing to take the necessary actions to prevent the recent rollout of a new visa requirement for travel to the United Kingdom. On Thursday, the United Kingdom announced that Trinidadians seeking to travel to that country will now require visas. The Trinidad Guardian says Prasad-Bissessar criticized the Rowley administration for betraying, belittling, and breaking Trinidadians with its decade of failure, which has now led to these measures. She says for years she warned Rowley about his associations with drug trafficking governments and his failure to deal with TNT's national security. She says the opposition finds no joy in the announcement, which stemmed from not only an increase in asylum applications from TNT nationals, but from an explosion in the number of these applications over the last year. According to the statement of changes in immigration rules presented to the UK Parliament, TNT's visa status will be kept under review. Further afield, an 8-year-old child who was raped in Bangladesh died of her injuries on Thursday, setting off fierce protests around the country. The BBC says the girl was raped while visiting her elder sister's house in the city of Magura sometime between March 5 and 6. The 18-year-old husband of the child's sister, along with his parents and brother, were arrested and placed on remand. On Thursday night, after hearing news of the child's death, an angry mob descended on the house where the incident is alleged to have taken place and set it on fire. The girl died on Thursday after suffering 3 3 cardiac arrests. She had spent 6 days in a critical condition at the Combined Military Hospital in the capital Dhaka after being admitted there on March 8. That's the news.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:17.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, or 34 Slipe Road, Kingston 5. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 20 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Win with love. Use your JMMB Money Transfer Prepaid Visa Card from October 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 for a chance to win your share of a $2.1 million grand prize, plus a $100,000 university cash grant and cash back from paying tolls and shopping with your card. Receive money 24/7 in minute with Visa Direct via MoneyGram, Zoom, Remitly, or directly through RIA and Zoom. Visit jm.jmnb.com/money-transfer for full details on how to enter and win with love. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act. Conditions apply.
Come taste the beat with Tasty Cheese. This Easter, we're back bigger and better. The Tasty team will be at St. William Grant Park in downtown Kingston, Saturday, March 8th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Save the date and don't be late. Come vibe to some Tasty Beats. You could win prizes and surprises. Special sale on Dairy Industries products. Other food and drink will also be on sale.
Tasty Beats with Tasty Cheese. Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute is brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with Ludlow McLean. Good morning, Ludlow.
Again, and our listeners are between public or visitors and all our transport operators. Good morning to you all. It's bright and sunny. Some clouds looking towards the mountains. I see some dark clouds there, but nothing threatening for the time being, not threatening. And the roadway is still busy. I just want to remind you that Balmoral is not too bad going across Balmoral to Queens Avenue off Havertree Road. But the build-up is really on Cargill Avenue. Okay, Cargill Avenue going further onto Havertree Road. Havertree Road is busy because Havertree Square is busy on Lyons Road, onto Eastwood Park Road, and going across to South Avenue. That's where you have the greatest amount of traffic, and coming down Havertree Road. By the way, Oxford Road, from Havertree Road, Oxford Road to the other section, Olop Road, bumper-to-bumper traffic, and it's also busy along from Olop Road, getting back onto Havertree. It really has a lot of traffic. Going further into Crossroads, the traffic is on Slipe Road, coming up across to Havertree Road, and also Retirement Road. Those are the areas of traffic. Going down Studio One Boulevard, it's steady, no problems there. If you're on the Linders Road side, trying to make it onto Studio One Boulevard, not much traffic there either. Going down Slipen Road, it's steady, no problems. Hero circles in both directions. It's quite okay for the time being. So the traffic really is from the west coming towards the east, and it will continue to be so. So as usual, we urge you to be careful. It's the weekend, and as usual, we want to see everybody in tip-top condition. All right, come Monday at 6:45 a.m. So George, as usual, at Street Smart, your safety is all concerned. Back to you in the studios.
Thank you, Sir Ludlow. Ludlow McLean there with the final Street Smarts for the week. I want to say good morning to our friends watching us on YouTube, listening to us on the radio as you drive into work, listening to us at home if you are retired. And good morning to the staff at the Halfway Tree Post Office. Yes, especially Miss Thomas, branch manager, Miss Thomas. Special good morning to you. Special good morning to all of you watching on YouTube. I'm reading your comments and I'm laughing this morning. Anyway, settle yourselves. The front page is up next.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute was brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Alright, we have an announcement before I get into the front page, Siobhan, and I'll read accordingly. Philip Bedward arrived in the island last night, went to Gloria's, Port Royal. His car was broken into and suitcase with all his clothes, laptop, passport was stolen. We're appealing for the return of at least the laptop and the passport. He can be contacted at 876-869-8554. That's Philip Bedward. He arrived in the island last night. He went to Gloria's in Port Royal. His car was broken into and his suitcase with all his clothes, laptop and the passport was stolen. We are appealing for the return of at least the laptop and the passport. He can be contacted at 876-869-8554. And that's the PSA. Now we are on the front page, and I wonder what it is that the producer has us to talk about this morning. Oh, yes.
Budget. Talking about the budget.
Gosh, Siobhan is having the time of his life now, smiling, happy. I'm ready to talk about the speech by Julian Robinson. I think earlier, Siobhan, before we get right into the conversation, earlier we were just rating basically how the presentation was in particular to other presentations of the past from Julian Robinson. Also, people would have to understand that that's how we would have to do it. We didn't speak to content. So if you have or take issues with some of the content of his presentation, we haven't gotten into that because that's a more granular
it's just a
presentation.
Analysis.
It's just a comparative analysis to say, hey, we've heard him before and this is, this is a step up. He's come out punching. Whether or not you agree with the content of what he said is another conversation. We haven't gone into content yet. So now we're having the reactions to his budget contribution. That is the opposition spokesperson on finance, and he pledged that a future PMP government would introduce a flat rate for the bills of senior citizens who are customers of the NWC. This was one of a number of initiatives that he said would be implemented to ease the economic burden of the Jamaican people.
I now want to move to how we plan to help those senior citizens. those who are 65 and over. Mr. Speaker, we're going to introduce for our elders or senior citizens who are retired a flat rate for their National Water Commission water bills. A flat rate. So every Jamaican 65 or over will benefit from a capped flat rate that will help to ease the financial burden. They have, and it is not going to be one rate across the board because people have different consumption patterns, right? And so you work out, and we will work out what that rate.
That's Julian Robinson. He also pledged to extend the amount of time tertiary graduates have before they're required to start repaying their loans from the Student Loan Bureau. He said the period will be extended by 6 months. Mr. Robinson also says this will be coupled with an income-based repayment system.
Let's say you borrowed $5 million and your repayment is $30,000 a month, but you haven't gotten the kind of job that allows you to pay the $30,000 a month, but you're paying $20,000 every month, right? And the reality is that if you look at the unemployment data, it doesn't say this, but we have a large percentage of what you call underemployment. People who are in jobs below their experience and qualifications. The challenge with the system right now is that even though you're paying the $20,000 that you can afford every month, you are considered delinquent and in default. We are going to reform the Student Loan Bureau so that we can do away with that categorization of delinquency and being in default.
That's Julian Robinson, opposition spokesman on finance. And Julian Robinson says the next PNP government will retrain teachers to prioritize literacy and numeracy skills in the early years of a child's life. He says this is in an effort to address the high number of students struggling in those foundational areas. According to the data from the Jamaica Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey of 2022, 38% of children between the ages of 7 and 14 have failed to acquire foundational reading skills.
The statistic also suggests only 50% acquired foundational numeracy skills. Robinson says growth in the economy can only be sustained if foundational literacy and numeracy levels are maintained at a high standard. Well, for reactions to the spokesman on finance's budget presentation, we are now joined by financial analyst and chartered accountant Dennis Chung. Good morning, Sir Chung.
Morning, Dennis.
Morning, guys. How are you doing?
Good. You were at the match last night, I suspect.
No, I'm actually overseas now.
Oh, wow. Look at that, Dennis. Look at that. But we're going for a break, Dennis, and we'll come right back into our conversation. We want to hear your thoughts about the overall presentation.
Give up every illegal gun. Call the police at 119 or Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
7:30.
Fix up with Fleetwood products for your home improvement, personal care, and aromatherapy needs. They have your well-being in mind. Available at retailers island-wide. The temperature by Fleetwood Jamaica is...
It's 26 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and 25 out west in Montego Bay, and 22 in Mandeville.
Outperform, outlast, with top performance, Jackhammer, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy select tools, free parts and free repairs. Free parts, free repairs. In 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-61124. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
For women standing tall and strong, Sagicor celebrates International Women's Day all month long. For her day, her deals. 7,500 bonus points on new Sagicor Bank credit cards. Special rates on auto loans and mortgages. Discounted trading fees from Sagicor Investments. A free dash cam or tire inflator with Ultimate Woman Auto Insurance from Advantage General Insurance. Plus, tailored products like our Sagicor Life Total Woman Life Insurance Plan. Accelerate action towards financial empowerment. Call 888-SAGICOR. Conditions apply.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills?
Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
In this uncertain U.S. immigration climate, you need expert guidance you can trust. The Consular Queen LLC handles visas, waivers, petitions, and more, making immigration stress-free. Don't navigate the process alone. Get professional support today. Call 470-593-8448 now. That's 470-593-8448. The Consular Queen. Unite families, change lives. 470-593-8448. Secure your future today.
Attention motorists, it's time to switch to the T-Tag on TransJam highways. Our automated T-Tag lanes reduce the cost of managing cash at our toll plazas, and drivers of Class 1 and 2 vehicles who use the T-Tag pay a lower toll fare than those who use the manually operated toll booths. They also get their 10th trip through any toll plaza free. The T-Tag makes it quicker, more cost-efficient, and safer for our customers. So switch to the T-Tag today and experience the convenience. T-Tag packages are discounted to only $1,500, including a $500 toll credit from now until March 31st.
We're back with you. It is the front page. It's Nationwide this morning, of course, and we're talking about the opposition spokesman on finance, Julian Robinson, his presentation in the budget debate, and of course we have financial analyst and many more things behind that, Dennis Strong. Dennis, you're here with us, and I want to ask you about your thoughts on the overall presentation.
All right. Well, let me start by saying that I didn't listen to the overall presentation. I was actually traveling all day yesterday, but I did read some things on it that I've looked at, and based on what I've seen, the thing about the interest rates, the initiatives that they would take. I did hear about the students' loan initiative, right, and those sorts of things. I think that I think he has hit the points from a policy perspective that we want to hear. Certainly, a lot of the things that he spoke about, Fable Williams would have spoken about them also, as those are initiatives that's being pursued. So he did speak to that, right? In terms of, I don't know the fiscal side of it, and the discipline on the fiscal and the tax side of it. I didn't look at that and say anything about that. But that is something I think that's very important to be addressed by the spokesperson on finance, because as you know, what was maybe one of the highlights of the presentation is the fact that we were able to do all of this within the gambit of maintaining a surplus, right, and some amount of fiscal discipline, and also the matter of the taxation, and the fact that we're going to be increasing the threshold. He did speak to the asset tax, which is something I've always been saying for a very long time, from when it was introduced a few years after by Dr. Peter Phillips, which was supposed to temper that. It really is a distortionary tax, right? And we need to eliminate it. Eliminate over 5 years. I would have hoped for less than that, but I guess it's better than nothing. It was supposed to happen before. So overall, didn't listen to everything overall, but listen to those things that I pointed out.
We can start there, Dennis. The asset tax, as you rightfully pointed out, this was to have been eliminated back in 2020, but COVID intervened and it was put off. And the finance minister did include that in her budget presentation. Right. In terms of the total impact on the budget, how the phase out over 5 years, how would that work in terms of a revenue loss?
I'm not sure how much it is. I know it's pretty significant in terms of the amount that comes in. But a phase out over 5 years, I think, would be possible. I think a phase out even before 5 years. And
it's because it was supposed to be cut in half back in 2020.
Dr. Clark did speak to it. Right. Dr. Clark did speak to it also. It can happen because as the economy grows, and you know what has happened over the past few years with the not just COVID, but the global situation, is that we had to be very careful about our fiscal program. Over 5 years, I guess it could happen over that time because the economy is going to grow also. Barring any unforeseen global circumstances, I think that what is being done now to address the matters of getting money in the hands of people individually, the productivity, the infrastructure development and all of that will actually add some productivity to the economy. So barring that, for example, a hit on tourism, I think that, you know, the economy will see some growth and continue to improve in growth if we keep doing these things.
But what about the proposal to twin it with a reduction in banking fees? Because I just did a quick check. NCB Financial Group in 2024 collected something like $40 billion in net fee revenue. And the asset tax on their books was just $6 billion. I mean, as a businessman, you look at the two things and you weigh the options, saying, get rid of the asset tax, reduce my fees. Is it really just that simple?
Let me ask that question, Kevin. I didn't hear that. Who's going to reduce the fees?
No, Mr. Robinson says that the PNP will negotiate a reduction in bank fees using the asset tax as leverage. But, I mean, realistically, when you look on a bank's balance sheet and the asset tax is just $6 billion.
I didn't hear that, but that wouldn't work, right? And I'll tell you why. Your fees are going to be based on market. So even if you negotiate with someone, and I don't like that, you know, from when my friend Fitz came out with it, I don't like that any government or parliament is going to be interfering in how the market works, and that's what I don't like, because that in itself can cause distortions in the market. So, for example, suppose I negotiate a fee with you, Chevron, right? And you say, I will give you a lower fee. And Sanjay has a higher fee, but he gives me a better service. Then what will happen to productivity in the long run? And that's why I always think that the market must determine it. So the government can remove the asset tax. And what that will do is give the banks more leverage to go and offer more value to their customers by saying, okay, we can then reduce our fees in this way. But the bigger thing is that if we get the whole bureaucracy around movement of accounts, opening of accounts, the central KYC in place, and greater competitiveness in the system, then automatically, as I always say, when stamp duties on mortgages were removed, mortgage fees dropped because everyone now was competing, because it was easy for somebody to move from one institution to a next. I did it when I had a mortgage, right? At the time, stamp duties dropped, and immediately I got like a 2% reduction, saving me significant amounts, right? Before that, it would have cost me a significant amount to move. So what we need to do is get the competitiveness in. I don't like the idea of government or anybody to do government in negotiating and interfering in the market. So I don't think that would work either.
Which then brings us another proposal by Julian in terms of using the deposits as a negotiation chip. He points out that 10% of deposits in the commercial banks are from the government, and he's suggesting that they put a competitive bidding process in for those deposits in order to lower interest rates. Does that sound feasible?
Well, it can happen, but I don't think it is something that should happen and is efficient. And I told Antoinette from when she was there, she proposed it. The fact of the matter is that let us understand what drives interest rates. Interest rates is driven by risk. Interest rates is driven by also demand. Again, the whole competitive process. If you make it easier for persons to move from one bank to the next, right, and that person is a good risk, then people are going to say, no, I don't want you to move, right? I will offer you a lower rate, right? But right now, people can't move. So even if government were to move money around, the fact of the matter is that that wouldn't impact the man on the street or the business who is borrowing, because that only speaks to the government being able to negotiate better rates.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, the other side of that is that if the government were to go and secure deposits based on just rates alone, without looking at the other side of it in terms of the stability of the organization, the asset that they're going into, and all of those things, the risk side of it, which is the responsibility that government has to do when they're investing our taxpayer money, then you can understand what can happen. So someone says to you, oh, I'll give you 5%, and someone says, no, I'll give you 8%. And you go and put that 8% in, and guess what? In 6 months, the institution fail. What happens to you? That's our money.
Yeah.
So government has to go with its own due diligence, but that in itself is not going to reduce interest rates, because the interest rates is based on the ability of the person who is receiving the interest rate to be competitive.
I want to,
therefore, the central KYC is key.
I want to turn your attention, Dennis, to education. Education got some focus in this presentation. Student loan was one, but I won't go into that. I'll go into this one about the retraining of teachers for literacy and numeracy. And I wanted to hear your comments on that.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with that. I read on it, and I agree with that. I mean, and this is not something that should be an initiative we're introducing. It should be ongoing. We should always be retraining our teachers, right? So the teachers are in the system. So in professions like the legal and the accounting profession, it's known as continuing professional development. We should always be retraining our person, because times are changing, right? We're talking about now getting into an era of artificial intelligence. It's totally different. So we always need to be retraining. And I agree, based on what I read, what Julian presented, that a lot of the money needs to go towards primary education. That is where the money needs to go, because once you set that base, right, then people will learn. It still does not mean that primary education focus and the pathways program is mutually exclusive. The both of them can happen. And I like the pathways program, because even if you have money going to the primary education and you get more people coming out literate, because of our social issues and the fact that we don't have that parent involvement, right? I think that you're still going to have a substantial amount of people, or significant enough, coming out of the primary school system that still is going to need some program in place. So the pathways, I think, is important.
Hold for me there, Dennis. Hold for me.
It's a good...
Hold for me. Let us set the break, and then we'll come back on that point.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
7:46.
At Hawkeye, our mission is to deliver cutting-edge security solutions to help you keep track of the things you value most.
The temperature by Hawkeye is...
It's 26 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, 25 out west in Montego Bay, and a cool 22 in Mandeville.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Digicel, live life your way, no free what? Digicel postpaid. With Digicel postpaid, it's all about you. Sign up or pay your bills to stay active for a chance to win a luxurious all-expense paid trip for two to Royalton, Antigua. With round-trip flights on us, every week you could win exciting prizes. Event tickets, gym memberships, spa packages, excursion adventures, restaurant vouchers, and more. When you opt in on the My Digicel app, life your way starts now with Digicel. Better connected.
Promotion ends March 31. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
I am ready. Are you ready? Let's get moving. It's all about the Jamaica Observer Spring into Fitness promotion. It is here and we are ready to challenge and reward you. All you gotta do is share a 5-minute workout video and win big. When I say big, I'm talking about a 1-year gym membership from Express Fitness Jamaica. Plus, you can win gift certificates from Body Forte Limited and the Live Store Jamaica. Remember, fill out your entry form in the Daily Observer and submit your videos to jolpromotion@gmail.com or WhatsApp 876-469-3089. Be informative, be creative, and be original. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Jamaica Observer for more details. Enter now, get fit with us. Jamaica Observer, spring into fitness promotion. Let's go!
At Active Home Center, we've got everything you need to create that perfect spa retreat. From Comfort Height toilets to the widest selection in faucets and shower enclosures to stylish tubs and the latest trends in bathroom cabinets in various sizes. Our bathroom collection has the perfect fit for every space and every budget. Your relaxing retreat starts here. Visit our showroom in Kingston at 84 Compton Spring Road or Montego Bay at Barnett Tech Park. Active Home Center. More savings, more choices.
All right, we're back with this Nationwide. This morning we have Dennis Strong, and Dennis Strong is speaking to the education proposal, and I think we left it at retraining teachers, and I know that Siobhan wants to take it back financial, so I'm throwing the baton back to you.
I'm curious about this Retrain Teachers initiative, because one assumes that the process, Dennis, and I would like you to weigh in, the process of training our teachers is always ongoing. We expect our teachers to retool and retrain in order to better themselves and their contribution to the education sector at all times. Isn't this essentially saying that it's like suggesting that we're in a drought and we want rain, so we said we'd love to have rain?
And before Dennis chimes in, I will say I have not only family members but friends that are teachers, and they, according to at least my understanding, I've heard many times of seminars and sessions and all the relevant things put on for those in early childhood ECC, for others in the regions for education through their education officers, etc. So I hear the proposal, but I don't know if it went as granular to explain what that would look like.
Yeah, you know what would be good. I mean, Julian does have a point in that.
Yeah.
We need to put more emphasis on the training.
Right.
But what it needs to be, I think, from a government point of view, is not just to train, but what are the certification standards and how much CPD hours do they need every year? That is where the enforcement needs to come in. To say, teachers, listen, we know that you're training, but we want to measure it. So put a measurement system in place to say, okay, you have to do 25 CPD hours every year. And you have to do it based on this, just like what the accountants do. right? You have to do a certain amount of hours. So that I think could work from a government point of view.
Well, Dennis, I think you are building on what Mr. Robinson said, because I think that now puts some context to where the conversation should be brought, but I don't think the conversation was brought to that level in the proposal. The proposal was just retraining in terms of numeracy and literacy so that the teachers can then implement better programs for numeracy and literacy to better numeracy and literacy numbers across the island. But how you state it now speaks to, that juxtaposition with other professions like the legal profession, the accounting professional, those who are in finance, for example, and I could go on, strategic planners, etc. So that's a different metric.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's how we need to do it, and that's the role that government can play, because you have to measure it. As I always say, if something is not measured, you can't rely on it. The only way to track progress is to measure something.
Yeah.
And Dennis, I want to turn briefly to the JUTC, because I think this is one point that the opposition spokesman on finance raised that I completely agree with. Why is it that despite the decline in ridership, the decline in number of buses on the road, the JUTC costs to the government, to the taxpayer, is still increasing year on year? Dennis?
That's a good point. Yeah, I'm hearing you, Shaban. You hearing me?
Yeah.
You hearing me?
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah. I'm saying that's a very good point, and I mean those are things that I think that we need to look at. Currently, I would expect though that the Auditor General Department, for example, is going to look at the performance audits from those places, and constantly, like the bureaucrats at the responsible ministry. Right. I mean, I know the government entities that I chair, performance audits are done on them, not just from the Auditor General Department, but the respective ministries, right? And we always have to keep on that. And certainly we should always be looking to improve the efficiency. So he's right on that. I mean, the fact that the ridership is decreasing also could also be a sign of something wrong, right? But remember also that there's a lot of expansion in private transport. So, we have to get to the bottom of it. But yeah, I mean, Julian is correct. We need to look at that and determine what the most efficient level is, the best use of the funds.
Yeah, I want to turn my attention to creatives, but I will say that I do take any JUTC proposal with a grain of salt. The issues at JUTC have been happening for quite a while. Government saying they're going to come in and fix, etc., and lamenting about things that didn't happen. I do take it with a grain of salt, because until there's a real, proposal as to how this overhaul would work, which I don't think we really got that. We didn't get like how exactly this would work, because people have been trying, they've tried, leadership has changed, a lot of things have happened at the JUTC over the last at least 10 years, but still there are some long-standing issues that need active change. But I want to go to creatives. Dennis, $1 billion to creatives, and of course in that, what I saw some uproar on the media about was the money to the those who are creative on TikTok, those who are making TikToks.
Was the term creatives, or was it specifically we said content creators?
Content creator. Look at that, Siobhan.
I don't know if we're quibbling about these definitions here, but to me, a content creator is someone like on YouTube, TikTok, social media, whereas a creative who can be any type of artist.
Yes.
So I don't really understand that proposal. But Dennis, go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out how it would work in terms of value. So you say you give them $1 billion, and then what? I mean, what content do they create? So for example, if someone is creating content that is going to bring value to the country, right? Then fine. But a lot of people create content that is not adding any value to the country. They add value maybe to themselves, right, and within the country. So I'm trying to understand that, though, how that would work. I didn't hear it, but I'll try to understand how that would work. So I'm not saying something like that can't work, but it depends on where specifically and how you qualify for it. So if a content creator is content, for example, about looking at how, the fashion industry in another country, then, how does that add some value to us? But I mean, I wouldn't discount it, because the truth is that the content that you create can be a very powerful marketing tool, right, for the country. So I'd have to understand.
But $1 billion though, Dennis? That's $1 billion was a number I heard, and I went and I saw it as well. $1 billion. The newspapers, they reported on it. $1 billion.
But
yes, I don't know how that would work.
But even then, Dennis, I have to ask you: is that the right way to put it? Shouldn't it be more or akin to a small business loan? And shouldn't then essentially that be added to some things like a DBJ portfolio? Should it be really a specific category carved out for content creators to get $1 billion? It just doesn't feel like the right vehicle to me. What do you say?
Oh, well, I agree with you. I am not even a proponent for making funds available through loans to companies primarily. I've always maintained that the way that the government needs to support MSMEs is, as he mentioned, one of the things he mentioned is carve out a certain percentage of contracts for MSMEs, right? So if I give you $1 billion, Sanjay and Chevron, and you go and work that $1 billion, right? It does not have the same multiplier effect as if I take that $1 billion and say, listen, I will order goods from you to the tune of $1 billion. Because when I order goods from you, it allows you to have a security to go and seek financing. It allows you also to employ people. It allows productive capacity. But when you take that $1 billion and you just invest in a company, I don't know if it's something that's going to fail or not.
Yeah, and to put that to you as well, Dennis, as it relates to procurement procedures, etc., and government and the procedures and the rules and the regulations that exist have a preference for those who have been in business for the longest. So by and large, and I said it to somebody recently, that I would never be motivated to have a startup in Jamaica, because having a startup in Jamaica, there is no real benefit. DBJ doesn't look on you until you are 1 year plus, and sometimes they have more things for 3 to 5 years and 10 plus years, etc. Then you look at the government as well. If you're supposed to apply for a contract, you would be outbidded by somebody who has 10 years of experience and a bunch of customers. So, that proposal has its merit, but it also has to be something that is not just said but legislated and actualized.
Yeah, there needs to be rules, and that's why I'm saying that what I would do is put money and extra money into buying goods and services from MSMEs and carving out. So that carve out that he mentioned is actually a very good suggestion, right? Because that will help them to grow. Other countries do it in different ways. For example, one of the things that we say, you have to be a local business to access certain things, right? So that's a good proposal, but I don't like the thing of you just lend someone your money, right? And then you basically hope that it works. But if you say to people, I'm going to buy this from you, so you have to ensure that your business is running efficiently to produce it and meet the needs that I want in terms of the goods and services. And you're only going to be competing with persons in your category. Then what happens is that you create more competitiveness in the economy, and you cause businesses to grow like that. Because the truth is that not all of them are going to succeed, So we can't expect everybody to succeed.
Right.
80% of businesses fail. So that's the way I think to do it.
And just briefly, Dennis, the NWC flat rate for senior citizens, I feel like this is one of those proposals that needs far more information than was provided yesterday. But on the face of it, do you see that as workable?
What was the proposal on that?
That senior citizens get a flat rate at the NWC. As I said, there's so much details missing that it's even difficult to explain in terms of specific categories and some assessment that senior citizens over the age of 65 get a flat rate from the National Water Commission for their bills.
Well, what I can say personally, I'm excited because I'm almost a senior citizen. but I agree with you. I don't know how that would work. I mean, that I don't know how that would work. For example, what is the revenue loss to the NWC on that also? And a flat rate, so someone who uses 1 million gallons of water, do they get the same rate as someone who uses 2 gallons of water? You know, so I agree with you. We need to get more on that. But as I said, personally, because I soon reach there, I'm excited about it, you know.
I suspect that is a general reaction, especially if you use a lot of water. But Dennis, we have to cut it there. Thank you for joining us as it relates to the presentation. And of course, listeners, we're going for Across Jamaica now. We'll be right back with you.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
The time by Grace Good Move is...
It's 8:03.
Success, powered by learning. The Temperature, brought to you by Sandals Corporate University. Come grow with us, is
26 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, 25 out west in Montego Bay, and 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's Across Jamaica this morning.
In Across Jamaica this Friday morning, as the country enjoys historically low unemployment rates, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is encouraging Jamaicans to save a portion of their income and embrace fiscal prudence. Jamaica's unemployment rate has stood at a record low 3.5% as of October 2024. Dr. Holness noted that employment is empowering Jamaicans with income and encouraged them to save and build wealth. He says regardless of how dissatisfied a person may feel about their income, they are one step further to prosperity by having income. The Prime Minister says persons must make savings a priority. Stakeholders in Montego Bay St. James are hailing the decline in crime in the parish since the start of the year. February marked a historic low in violent crime with 1 murder recorded. Data from the Jamaica Constabulary Force show that between January 1 and February 18, 6 murders were reported in St. James compared to 22 over the same period last year, representing a decline of about 73%. There were 11 cases of shootings compared to 21, a 48% reduction, while rape, which numbered 9 in 2024, dropped to 4, a 56% decrease. Commanding Officer for St. James, Senior Superintendent Aaron Samuels, told JS News that the downturn in crime in Montego Bay reflects the dedication and hard work of the JCF in partnership with civil society. The Northeast Regional Health Authority, NERA, says the operating theatre at Anotta Bay Hospital will be temporarily closed. NERA says the operating theatre will be closed for 30 days, starting Monday, March 17. It says the closure will be done to accommodate maintenance interventions and critical renovation works. During the period, NERA says alternative arrangements have been made at Port Maria Hospital in St. Mary and Port Antonio Hospital in Portland. It says obstetric emergencies and elective surgeries will be done at Port Maria Hospital. General surgery emergencies and elective surgery cases will take place at Port Antonio Hospital. NERA says other critical surgical cases that require specialized care will continue to be referred to St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital. The authority has apologized for any inconvenience the closure may cause. And that's it for Across Jamaica for this Friday morning. I'm Tona Thomas.
As I said hot with the mobile app, you feel know you can't flop the app in a happiness. Cause what? My JPS app easy, turn a riddle my light off it bright than the moon. If I want thing me love me JPS app, me I tell you about it in a the tune. My JPS app easy, turn a riddle for me light off it bright than the moon. If I want thing me love me JPS app, yeah we fully outside with the crew.
JPS, pouring what matters.
Digicel, live life your way, no free what? Digicel postpaid. With Digicel postpaid, it's all about you. Sign up or pay your bills to stay active for a chance to win a luxurious all-expense paid trip for two to Royalton, Antigua. With round-trip flights on us, every week you could win exciting prizes. Event tickets, gym memberships, spa packages, excursion adventures, restaurant vouchers, and more. When you opt in on the My Digicel app, life your way starts now with Digicel. Better connected.
Promotion ends March 31. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
If them a hide and a bribe, you know we not sleep. Extortion them want, you know that not keep. Fight against corruption, turn up the heat. Load up the kickback and fraud when you see. Anti-corruption, join in the fight. Let's come together and make this right. When you see wrong, you feel open your mouth. Now there's a new avenue for speak out. We need a reduction. Make we fight against corruption.
The Integrity Commission is working towards Jamaica, where there's integrity, accountability, and transparency in public service, where acts of corruption by persons in public office will be investigated and dealt with transparency and accountability. Stand with us in the fight against corruption. Call the Integrity Commission Anti-Corruption Hotline 876-926-0001.
Make we fight against corruption.
In this uncertain U.S. immigration climate, you need expert guidance you can trust. The Consular Queen LLC handles visas, waivers, petitions, and more, making immigration stress-free. Don't navigate the process alone. Get professional support today. Call 470-593-8448 now. That's 470-593-8448. The Consular Queen. Unite families, change lives. 470-593-8448. Secure your future today.
Welcome back, listeners, to Nationwide this morning. It's now time for JamPro Connect, and in this episode, we are going to be exploring business opportunities for those looking to expand their businesses into the U.S. market. I am joined by manager of the North American Regional Office, Shane Angus, and he will provide insights and market analysts on how to successfully navigate this transition. Welcome, Mr. Angus. Mr. Angus, are you there? It does not seem we have Mr. Angus there yet. We hope to have with him shortly, so we can... Hello, Mr. Angus, are you there? No, I still don't hear Mr. Angus, unfortunately. Well, listeners, as I said, we're going to be exploring how you can take your business into the U.S. market, which is quite an important topic, especially as things in terms of overseas trade heats up, where the U.S. is essentially declaring a trade war on many of its allies, including Canada, the European Union, and Mexico, as well as China. So this could present a few opportunities for us in Jamaica. Hello, Mr. Angus. Hello, how are you, sir?
Hi, I'm good.
Welcome to the program. So as I said, we are going to explore the topic of getting Jamaican businesses into the U.S. market. And I want to ask you, what are the major factors which can determine whether a company is ready to enter that market?
A company should have a plan when entering a market. So we like to see company have a full growth plan as to what they want to do.
And as part of that growth plan, explain it. At what point do they reach that fulsome position where they can say, yes, I'm ready to make that expansion where I feel that my product can be of value, not only to the U.S. market, but to bring those dividends back home here?
Yeah, so we tend to work with these companies a lot and assessing where they are in terms of their production. Now, the U.S. and Canada is a big market. So many companies want to enter these markets, but remember the demands for the product here is very high. So we try to have companies to understand that, listen, if you're entering this market, you must be at a particular level and willing to consistently supply into these markets, because it's kind of a it's a rough situation
Yes.
for distributors when they enter into contracts with suppliers, and after 1 or 2 months they can't get the products, and they have to find substitute quickly to fill those gaps. So we try to understand the production. We have our companies understand. You need to understand your supply chain, where your products are coming from, ensure you have this consistency and is able to meet the contractual agreements coming into the market.
Okay. And in your experience, what are some of the common mistakes made by companies when they're trying to make that transition and trying to enter into the US market?
Well, some companies are very eager to get in. So one of the main mistakes they make is they try to sign up with the very first person who say, I'll sell your products in the market. And when they do that, sometimes they have distributors who are not really the type of distributor you want to promote and push your product. So and many times you find companies, they've signed up with the wrong distributor, the wrong type of companies, and their product eventually die or they get nowhere. Secondly, another common mistake is entering these markets is very competitive. So budget is always important. A marketing budget is very, very important. So a lot of companies tend to just want to send the product up to the distributors and leave it. While distributors complain that, listen, we need to get some funding or some support from the companies locally to promote these products. And those promotions can be very expensive. So you do find a lot of companies aren't able to meet that obligation. And so it's a common mistake where you send the product, so you find out it's not being promoted. The distributor is promoting other companies that are actually spending the funds to do so. And they tend to suffer a lot from that.
Oh, okay. And I know another common misconception many people have is they treat the United States as this large block when really it's the federal government, and then you have the very different states and the very, very different regions. When a company is doing their market research, should they look at each state individually or just use the United States as in its full capacity?
No, I mean, every state is different. Even the income level across states are different, right? So yes, you have to look at every state differently. The distribution models are different. The diaspora distribution is different, and the persons who buy our products are they are in different parts. So you have to look at each state differently, understand the regulations within each state, how to get your product within each state. Because some markets are easier to get into than others in terms of logistics, etc. So you definitely have to look at how you're gonna get into each state and how you plan to work in each of them. So yes, it's different. So we encourage you to look and to treat them differently.
And how you mentioned the diaspora market, how does the Jamaican diaspora impact that market research?
So one of the key things, people buy based on familiarity, right? So when Jamaican products are coming into the market, the first thing a distributor will say to you is, how is that product performing in Jamaica? So whenever I meet with distributors, they say, okay, you want us to buy this new product or promote this new product, but let us see how it's doing in the market. So that familiarity is what drives the distributor interest in selling this product within the market. So it's very important that we start by getting into distribution, and that creates many opportunities. One of the opportunities you will find going in is once you start, these distributors start to sell this product, it creates now an opportunity for you as a manufacturer to expand the type of products you're selling, infusing different flavors, infusing different types of stuff to actually give new and innovative products to the distributors to sell for you.
Interesting. I know at the top of I spoke about this trade war and these tariff escalations between the US and many of its major trading partners. Looking at that and other things, are you seeing any specific trends which could offer an opportunity for local businesses?
Yeah, I mean, we do still have a lot of treaty with America, which they're honoring. So I see an opportunity there we can actually fill the gap. The challenge we're having is that we have to up our production to take advantage of many of these opportunities that are happening. We do see a lot of persons now looking near shore in terms of production, taking their manufacturing from Asia to this side of the world, so we can position ourselves to actually get some of those companies. Not everybody will come back onshore. Some will actually look at near shore. So we have to position ourselves to be there. As it relates to product, many of our products, our products, Jamaican products, are very nice, unique, very flavorful. We have other countries doing similar products. May not be as good as the Jamaican products, but many companies are doing them. But it's best for us to actually grow our production to take advantage of the demands that are coming this way.
And on that same topic, should price be the major concern? Most people think that just because a good is more expensive, it will have a far more difficult time to compete, especially when we're talking about imports here in Jamaica compared to other countries heading into the US market. Should the price be the competitive factor only?
Well, surprisingly, there is a misconception that goods coming from Jamaica into this market, I mean, regardless of the price, people buy it. And that's not true. People here, like everywhere else, are struggling. You have seen they have inflation problems. They've also had a problem. People are watching their dollars. People are going to the supermarket. They've $100 they want to get the best value for their money. So at some point, the loyalty to brand is secondary. So you do find that pricing plays a very important role in things here. Manufacturers will tell you, or distributors will tell you that we like your Jamaican products, but the cost we're getting things from Jamaica is too high for them to even bring them in the market. I had an example where I was trying to get a company to bring Jamaica castor, and the person said to me that he wants to bring the castor, but the price he's getting from Jamaica per bottle, small bottle, it was $10, and he's getting it from another country and selling it at $3.50. So it's a great difference in prices, and because of that, he wasn't able to carry the Jamaican product. So price is very important, both from the buyers here and also from the distributors to get the products out there in the market.
Okay, and I know we've been talking about goods so far, but what about services? Is there any specific advice for people who are trying to export their services into the US market?
Oh yeah, I mean, services is something we see on the rise, and people are looking for other countries. But what is important, I'll see it to a lot of service providers, is always have your referrals, the jobs you have done. Always have a nice list of things that people can refer to see what you have done. For other services, I also recommend you seek partnerships. Coming into this market, sometime it's best to partner with other companies who will give you some of their job eventually until you grow and build your reference base until you can branch out on your own. So those are some advice I say to companies to look at those when you're doing services in this market. So the referral is very important.
That is Shane Angus. He is the manager of the North American Regional Office of Jampro. Thank you, Shane, for those insightful tips into bridging that gap into the U.S. market for Jamaican businesses.
All right. Good. Thanks for having me. Good.
More after this break, listeners.
Apply for your NHD refunds at nhd.gov.jm or via the NHD app. Do not click on any links offering to help you. The time by the NHD is...
It's 8:19.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The temperature by Fontana Pharmacy. It's all good inside is...
Well, things are starting to heat up, listeners. It's now 28 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, 27 out west in Montego Bay, and 23 in Mandeville.
Attention motorists, it's time to switch to the T-Tag on Trans-Jam highways. Our automated T-Tag lanes reduce the cost of managing cash at our toll plazas, and drivers of Class 1 and 2 vehicles who use the T-Tag pay a lower toll fare than those who use the manually operated toll booths. They also get their 10th trip through any toll plaza free. The T-Tag makes it quicker, more cost-efficient, and safer for our customers. So switch to the T-Tag today and experience the convenience. T-Tag packages are discounted to only $1,500, including a $500 toll credit from now until March 31st.
Yo, my boss. Yo, my general. Yo, my king. The new BK Mega Stacker. Come for run everything. Choose your style. Double, triple, or quad stack. Juicy grilled beef. Plus crispy bacon, some stackerific sauce, and layers of melted cheese. So if you think you can angle it, stackify yourself today. Order the BK Mega Stacker and have it your way. The new BK Mega Stacker. Built for satisfaction. Limited time. Only at Burger King.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to Nationwide this morning. We're staying in the United States, but we're moving over to immigration now. The U.S. Gold Residency Card is a proposed or conceptual immigration program designed to provide long-term residency benefits to foreign nationals who meet specific investment, employment, or residency requirements. While the United States currently offers various visa and residency programs such as the EB-5 Investor Visa, employment-based green cards, and the Diversity Visa Lottery, the term gold residency card is not an officially recognized category under current U.S. immigration law. However, similar programs exist in other countries, often tied to investment incentives. For more on this gold residency card, I am joined by the U.S. immigration attorney popularly called the Consular Queen, Nordia Barrett Lewis. Welcome, Nordia.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. But guess what? I have a piece of clarity for you. I am an immigration consultant. I am not an attorney. And of course, I'm out here with some attorneys. In fact, my main attorney, as we're here at an immigration conference in Tampa, Florida, where I'll be speaking in short order after leaving here. So, of course, I'm just reminding folks that I'm an immigration consultant, but I'm badass, if it's okay to say that on radio.
That's perfectly fine. Thank you for that clarity, Nordia. So please explain to me this concept of a U.S. gold residency card, and how would this differ from the standard EB-5 investor or the employment-based green cards?
All right. I like that you're asking how does it differ from the EB-5, etc., right? At the moment, it is a proposal, right? It is not here just yet, and it is just an added path to come into the United States. Of course, let's be logical. If my home country, Jamaica, had the opportunity of taking in individuals who are really wealthy that are able to stimulate the economy, of course, I would definitely be for it. And I am for that because other pathways are not being removed.
Yes.
This is just an added pathway. So a little bit more clarity is that individuals are panicking because they're thinking, hey, I need to have $5 million in order to enter the United States. That's not what is being said. And if it's being currently understood, I want it to be debunked. It's an added pathway. So this does not prevent your parents, your siblings, your spouse from petitioning for you. That has not changed. It has also not changed the humanitarian ways. It has also not changed most of the employment-based, or what we call the self-petition methods, right? It's an added pathway. So therefore, the panic that is happening out there, it needs to be reduced among the people that are not really concerned where this is this proposal is being proposed, right? Because it's not yet in its implementation phase, right? So let me just say this, for the individuals going through the family base, and if you are undocumented at this time, your focus should not be on the $5 million. Your focus should be on getting documented.
Yes.
So you need to find me and let me help you to at least be pending in the process. If you're not pending, when I seize you on the road, of course, it's going to be a threat to you. You're not pending. You're not in motion doing anything. You're just walking around undocumented. And if you're undocumented in the space, you know the category of that already. But I'll also add, if you're even pending or you're holding a green card, stay away from criminal activities. You might want to stay away from even eating some of those grapes that you may feel tempted to taste in the Walmart store, right? You may want to pay attention to making sure that the goods that you're checking out at the counter, that all the pieces are checked, even though you're responsible and doing the self-check. Make sure this happens, right? Because one of the really not so nice things is that when the cops are called and when you go in, the next thing is that you hear that there's some ICE involvement in the process. So you want to stay away from any of those things that are going to put you in a predicament. If you're staying away from those things, you're pending and you have your documents, you're fine. I'm also noticing that the airports are literally empty. I did a couple drop-offs, and of course, I'm here in Tampa, so I would have used the airport myself. And I'm going to be in Jamaica at the end of this month for Level Up Jamaica, teaching people on the ground in Jamaica to take care of immigration processes and taking care of them properly, making sure that the Jamaican community have access to good immigration support, immigration help. And I'm also going to say, always choose to use certified consultants. There is support behind them, and of course, they're staying upgraded.
Always good advice. Let's look on the matter of this gold residency. In terms of the legal requirements, beyond the obvious one that it comes with the $5 million price tag, would the other requirements be different from the investor or the green card holder?
All right, so I don't want to say it's going to hinge itself. It should, because remember, it's a proposal, so we have nothing on it yet. But it should hinge itself closer to that of the investor green card. The only thing we're saying, you don't need to walk through this whole process to show us that you're an investor setting up anything. We're making it easier. And quite naturally, investors would have been the ones sitting on that kind of money. I know that even in Facebook, like some people look at it as wealthy terrorism. They're saying, so wealthy terrorists are going to end up in the United States. But I'm also saying to them, at what point, as immigrants, we start to go against immigrants? At what point do we see an added pathway for immigrants, for people like us to benefit, and we start to talk badly about it? So we have to be careful how we look at things like these, because our pathways, my pathways is definitely going to be different from that of a gold green card person, right? But that person is just as entitled as I am.
Understood. And what about the potential legal hurdles? Because I imagine even if you're paying $5 million for a gold residency, you still have to go through the standard background checks to make sure that you're not a criminal and the source of funds, etc.
Exactly. So if you're going through the same, and it's probably going to be increased scrutiny, because of course, a family-based person would just need a police record and stuff. When you start to deal with funds now, you start to do your money laundering checks and all that nice stuff. And if we know anything about the United States, if you're purchasing a home, for example, and at the back end of it, when you're about to close, they notice that certain sums of monies are coming into your account. You have to answer to that. And those sums are usually pretty small in comparison to that which a person with $5 million. And that person would not just have $5 million coming into the United States, quite naturally, right? That would not be it. There's no person that is going to only have $5 million and come in. They will definitely have more than that, and we're looking at investors. So I would say to you, it is an easier path to the investors or to the investment visa, which would have been the EB-5.
Interesting. And then finally, we understand that this is a proposal of the Trump administration. Could this be potentially reviewed by a different administration that comes into power at a later date? As in, could it be thrown out completely or adjusted in some way? Or would this proposal, going in as it would now, stand for all time?
That's an excellent question, because you would probably have heard about the Biden program that came about last summer, and as soon as the Biden program came about, and that was another pathway as well. It was basically saying that persons that are in the United States, you're married, you've been there for 10 years, you're married to a U.S. citizen, you're not yet processed, come on out and have yourself sorted, right? As soon as that came about, it didn't even last 3 months. It was shut down in the courts. So why am I pointing this out to you? It happened, the Biden brought that about, and it went away under Biden. So it is possible that this kind of thing can, of course, dissipate as soon as it comes. But I believe it will have legs, and it will have legs because everyone wants their economy to be stimulated. The economy cannot survive on just the people that are in need. It needs a mixture of people. And when we have multiple, because right now they're saying there's an approximately 250,000 persons that are already interested. And of course, this is not yet in. So by the time this should start. I'm sure when the door flies, a whole lot of persons are going to be in, and if it should close, a whole lot will still be in before it closes.
The Consular Queen Nordia Barrett. For those who are interested in this proposed program and other initiatives in terms of U.S. immigration, how can they reach you, Nordia?
Of course, that's 470-593-8448. That is 470-593-8448. You can call the number or you can WhatsApp. Do not send a text. You call or WhatsApp that number, and we can get cracking from there. I am here to give you that immigration support that you need. I'm here to take away the worry out of the process for you.
Thank you so much for that, Nordia Barrett. She is a consular consultant, an immigration consultant rather, also known affectionately as the Consular Queen. Thank you for joining us.
Much blessings to you, sir. Thank you.
Horton's RX, the caring pharmacy, the Yes We Can pharmacy, the Yes It's in Stock pharmacy, the House Call Delivery pharmacy, the RX Pack mobile app pharmacy, the RX Plus digital wallet pharmacy, the 20% reward pharmacy, the easy to remember number pharmacy, 876-RX0RXRX, the easy access 24/7 pharmacy, Horton's RX, the convenient pharmacy, hashtag wellness, hashtag simply delivered.
My Mega With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
JANA Global Accreditation, promoting consumer confidence, facilitating market access through internationally accepted accreditation and training services. Accreditation, your visa for global access. Accredited once, accepted everywhere. Call JANA Global Accreditation at 876-968-7790 or visit our website at www.janac.gov.jm.
We're back with you. It's Nationwide this morning. Of course, we're changing gears again, and you know that's probably one of my favorite statements in the morning times, changing gears. But you know, it's for those of us who love our vehicles. I heard that we are doing what some of these YouTube listeners have been asking about, Siobhan. They've been asking, how can we get in touch with the studio lines in the morning? And I was told to tell you that we are not really the call-in program, you know, that is CliffViews Online, but we do facilitate it some mornings, especially when we have the time. So the studio line 630-937124, 630-937124, and 618-8255, 618-8255. That's a digital. The floor is 630-937124. So Yes. We are taking calls. And of course, I know there are some ardent callers who are about to call in. But what YouTubers are asking Siobhan, you know, why is it, and I probably have to put this to the producer, why is it that we have interviews for immigration to the United States of America and we don't have interviews for immigration to the other North American states? And
But that's we have an immigration program where you have somebody from Canada and the United States.
But that's just not on Nationwide this morning because this one's a paid interview. So I hate to burst your bubble, but we actually did have a paid Canadian interview on Monday. So for those who don't listen every day, the question you're asking, I can tell you that it just means you should be locked in to Nationwide this morning. We're getting calls. Michelle, who do we have on the line? Julius, good morning.
Morning. Can't get on any program from the other day.
No bother with that, Julius. In the ear, me just say. Julius, in the ear, me just say, no bother with that, man. Morning. What's on your mind?
What's up? I'm here just watching the climate and watching what is happening out there.
Which climate you watch? The sunny or the rainy one?
The political one.
This morning I thought you were going to tell me you're a weatherman, Julius, but jeez, man.
Funny it is, by a place here where rain falling from the other day, but like a week now I don't see any.
Mm-hmm.
Before that is like every day, sometime all night, and we have to hold on. I don't know, rain running away from us hour.
Mm-hmm.
Climate change, as you said, Julius.
With this thing that I heard with Honorable Percival James there, how is it that he got himself in that now situation? Hello?
Well, situation?
Which situation are you talking about?
To do the open batsman for these people and let everybody on the internet here bashing him and dealing with him like that. When he came out of retirement and put himself in that.
Well,
people have him all over the place, bouncing him and calling him this and,
Well, I suspect it is his right to do so, and it's a time when the opposition would
really make them win. I don't know what deal they work with him, but let them know this. Let them know this. They can't do him like the Central Kingston man. If they say they're going to do something for him, they have to do it. I hope they're aware of that. Yes, because he's not going to come out and cuss and whatever. He's going to deal with it. But listen up. If it is that they have to go for Mr. Patterson at this time, that's how low they are now, way back. In the polls, I heard they saying about the polls, but I'm trying to get confused from the other day, to tell him, you don't need the polls, what you need is to get somebody out there to go down College Summit Drive one Friday from Arnett Garden football field, which is the top of College Summit, all the way to Spanish Road, and look at the amount of businesses. They can stop and ask some of them when they started these businesses. And then him go down out by Spanish Town Road now and go out by Payne Avenue and look at the same thing what is happening. Then him can leave there and go out by a place, go through 3 Mile and go a place called back to Majestic Garden and look at the amount of business and ask them when they started. When they start all these business under which government, and then you see what is happening. You don't need poll. People changing the other day. I carry a girl in my car and she said she wants some pie and some things to buy. And when she tell me the things, I say, you're going to build a house. She said, me build my house already. It's a room one built for my mother. Young little girl, You understand? So a lot of things is happening. So you don't need no poll or no what. The people know what is happening and the people will speak. That's what I mean.
I'm happy to hear that for you, Julius. But remember that in the question of Mr. Patterson, I remember the functions that he was brought out in. They were specifically PNP functions, So the function, what they hope Mr. Patterson will do, and is to energize their base, because he's still seen as this kind of mythical election winner among the People's National Party, and that is the context in which Mr. Golding brought him there to essentially energize that base of the PNP to come out to support him at the polls. Yeah, so he doesn't have that kind of draw with the general public and others in the country, but in terms of for the People's National Party and the context in which they used him, it was for that context.
You have our dear friend Portia, Honorable Portia, who they could use to do that, and I think she would do a better job. I heard that she's a little not on the well side, but I mean. And they also have the man who has just left, Mr. Philip, what's his name? Peter Phillips.
Dr. Phillips?
Dr. Phillips.
I don't know if Dr. Phillips has the same level of political capital as a Percival James Patterson. I'm not, and let me be quite frank, I have the greatest of respect and regard for Dr. Peter Phillips, but I don't think they have the same level of political capital.
You had said within the PNP.
Even within the People's National Party, I don't believe Dr. Phillips has the same level of political capital as PJ Patterson.
All right, Julius, I have to cut it there. The producer is telling me that we have you on for more than 15 minutes now.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Have a good day, Julius. We have William with us now. Morning, William.
Morning, Mr. Roden. Morning, Mr. Campbell.
What go on this morning, William?
Well, giving thanks now. Two quick things here.
Mm-hmm.
I hear speaking about the JOTC.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right. And I ask a question. Can you have the bus them park up in the depot when people need to go about their business? And the taxi and the executive on the road. Can the JOTC make money in that way?
No.
Well, that's exactly what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
When you go out on the road and need the bus, no bus. People out there for hours standing up. Even although they have so much new bus come, but there are no changes when it comes to the schedule of the bus. There are no schedule.
I will disagree with you there, William.
With what?
There is a schedule.
Schedule?
There is a schedule.
Your mind tell you?
No. There's a schedule. There's a schedule that you can pull up online. I remember I used to use that schedule when I needed to go to UA from particular places. I would use that schedule, and most times it works. Sometimes the bus would be a little bit off based on traffic, etc., but they do have a schedule.
Mr. Roden, that is a long time ago. So go right now in Greater Portmore. There's a sign put up there with a lot of schedule on it. Part of it all look out. Right? And I can tell you now, anytime at 11:30, going up to 2 o'clock, go out on the road and see if you find a bus.
I can, but the thing is, I maybe have a misconception, because as I understand it from the minister, the average wait time for a bus, and this, he's right, is the accepted international standard, is 45 minutes. But when I'm trying to get from, say, where I live, Patrick City, to Halfway Tree, which is a 10-15 minute journey, I don't really want to wait 45 minutes for a bus. So I mean, I can appreciate what he's saying, but I still feel that especially those very important routes, and which is one of the most driven routes in the country, should have a far shorter waiting time in terms of a bus.
And Mr. Campbell, if people didn't know, say by 45 minutes they would get a bus, people would plan them without know exactly when to come out of the bus stop, but there's nothing like that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, in my estimation, probably my experience has been different, but I don't think a lot of people really use these bus schedules in some instances. And but let me explain another thing. The problem we had as well was the lack of buses. I think with the new thrust by Minister Vaz and the government to get the buses in. So we got 100 last year, we're getting 100 this year, 100 next year, as they would have explained in budgets in the past. And we got the 100, but 200 more coming. Yes, JUTC is not at capacity, but I suspect that with new buses, we should see increased time as it relates to less waiting time.
Quick before I go. You see, Joe S, I don't know, you might not hear about it, I don't know if you know much about it. Joe S used to have less of bus more than what JUTC have. Right? And when you talk about timing, you could depend on the Joe S in 15 minutes. Right? And later route where Joe S used to run right now, JUTC are not running them. All up in the hill, from Red Hills to Jackshill, to Irish Town, back to Mavis Bank, Rallington Town, Franklin, to all them places, Joe S used to have bus going. Right?
But
I could wait and
but enough carried upon the road now, so
well, that is the point. Then ground the bus, put in the taxi them and the executive. So when space is for the JUTC and the JUTC passenger, you have to force to take this taxi. Right? You have to force to take them.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to agree with you on that one, because if I am to reliably get to work on time, I cannot rely on a JUTC bus to get to work. That would be a very dangerous situation if I had to rely on that. And it should not be the case. As I said before, it should not be the case. I should not have to wait 30-40 minutes at a bus stop to complete a 15-minute journey.
Yeah,
exactly.
But
I even less than 15 minutes because traffic might hold you sometime.
Yeah, but I have to push back, William, as it relates to the bus schedule, though, because I know as well, and my viewers on YouTube are telling me, because I knew this was announced, there is a JUTC app where you can actively track buses as well. So I think it's just...
But hold on, before you know, one of the bus, even if I'm going to put my, you can't see on a schedule. You see the no coaster, no executive, what them call them, premium, express.
Yeah.
Where you see the regular one them, we can bet you anything the regular one them now no schedule.
Well, I'm not I'm not a betting man, but what I but I have to go, William.
Yeah, man.
All right, thank you so much, William. We're going for a break. We'll be right back with you with our birthdays.
Jamaica's Spark program is investing $45 billion to improve roads, water, and telecom. Better infrastructure for a better future. The time by Spark is
8:48.
The Birthday Club is brought to you by Burger King, the best tasting burger under the sun.
We are in the birthday segment. You know what time it is. We know what time it is. Of course, it's time for your birthdays. I have one here in the chat from Arlene Rose sending happy belated birthday. Blessings to my friend Tasha Shirley of Woodford Park, who is also my granddaughter's Shantavia's aunt. Her birthday was yesterday. Wishing you a very happy belated birthday, and I hope you enjoy your day. As well, wishing Javon Roden from Clarendon happy birthday to you. Hope you enjoy your day. More life and more prosperity your way. All right, I'm seeing what's happening. Somebody says, to the world's greatest mother ever. I think that can be disputed by many of us, but happy birthday, mommy. Merle Blackwood Ford, who celebrated her 60th birthday, March 13th. Birthday wishes coming from your two favorite persons in the world, Shanique and Shauna. We love and appreciate you, Mom. And they're saying, Mom, that you are the greatest mother ever in the world, actually. And that's from Shauna and Shani, they're sending all their love and appreciation to you. It's a very happy birthday to you.
I see Carlene Heslop is saying her birthday is tomorrow and she wants us to ensure that she gets her big up from today. So there you are, Carlene Heslop. Big up on your special day tomorrow. Enjoy it.
Ed Barnes, your birthday is on Sunday. We're wishing you a very happy birthday from the NTM family here in studio. And Norma Anderson, your birthday is on Sunday. Wishing you a very happy birthday. Yes. And former Olympian. I'll just work with what I have. I have Suzette Banks saying happy birthday to you. Marlon McPherson, happy birthday to you. Cassie Richards, happy birthday to you. Clyde Paul McKenzie, happy birthday to you. And of course, we said Shanberry and Suzette McLeod, yesterday was your birthday. Wishing you very, very happy birthdays. Mars says happy birthday blessings to my mother Sonia Ranking, who celebrates her special day tomorrow, March 15th. Happy birthday, my queen. That's what Mars says. Send a happy birthday.
Jacqueline Lewis, a happy birthday for you tomorrow. I hope you have a very special day, Jacqueline, and the best to you.
The Birthday Club was brought to you by Burger King, the best tasting burger under the sun.
All right. This one says, happy birthday, my love, King J. As we get ready to celebrate you this Sunday, I want to take a moment to tell you just how much you mean to me. You make every day brighter with your kindness, humor, and strength. I feel so lucky to have you by my side. I'm really looking forward to our quiet celebration together. Just the two of us. I can't wait to enjoy some relaxing moments, share a few laughs, and reflect on all the beautiful memories we've created together. Thank you for being you, my partner, my rock, and my greatest joy. Here's to celebrating you today and always. I love you more than anything. Can't wait for Sunday. I hope you know who this message was for. Do you know who this message was for, Mr. King? So this message, I suspect, is from a woman by the name of Dr. Patrice Charles King, for the musical maestro Jermaine King.
I see the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining through to make those rainbows in my mind. When I think of you sometime, and I want to spend some time with you, just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us. Just the two of us. Just the two of us, building castles in the sky. Just the two of us, you and I. We look
tomorrow, March 15th, 2025, represents a special day in Nationwide 90. Particularly for Nationwide this morning, the super producer herself, the woman who blindsided me yesterday, the one who calls me if I'm not here yet, you know, the one who prepares everything behind the scenes, and so you see everything in front of the camera, Michelle McCray Smith. Tomorrow is her birthday. Wish her a happy birthday. And of course, Jermaine King is a day after. So there is a bias for March in studio. And I lean into that bias, seeing that March can now be considered the second best month. I'm going to ensure that all my March-born people feel loved and appreciated. So big up yourself, Michelle. Jermaine. I'm playing this one for you, Michelle.
Keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for good times and bad times. I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for.
Well, you came in up and
And that's where we have to leave it this morning. Listeners, thank you for joining us, and let us continue to grow in strength. Thanks to our super producer, who has her birthday tomorrow, Michelle McCray Smith, our technical operator for the morning, Jermaine King. And thank you all on YouTube for joining us, as well as those in Radioland. I am Siobhan Campbell.
And I'm Sandra. I'm wishing you a smiling day. Keep smiling. And remember, it's tax season. Don't forget to file your taxes.
You put that on people on tax season. Keep smiling.
You've just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
Up ahead, moving in the trees, white skin in linen, perfume on my wrist, and the full moon that hangs over these dreams in the mist. Darkness on the edge, shadows where I stand. I search for the time on a watch with no hands. I want to see you clearly, come closer than this. But all I remember are the dreams in the mist.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
Your taxes hold the